awaiting some housing data coming through here at 8:30 as we get going on a Friday morning, expecting building permits for October. A little bit delayed here so far, and housing starts for October as well. There's the housing starts number, 1.372 million versus a forecast of 1.35 million. Building permits for October, preliminary number there, 1.48 versus 1.47. So not a heck of a lot as far as economic data to expect this morning. But as you can see, again, a ton of Fed speakers coming through. We'll get Barr, Collins, Goolsbee, Daly, Collins again in the afternoon, and then some oil data later on. But interesting look to start the Friday morning here as we head towards the weekend. Trying to make it a positive week for not only the NASDAQ, but the S&P. We'll touch on some earnings coming up here. GPS, nice look to the upside this morning, coming off a better than expected report. AMAT selling things they shouldn't be to countries they shouldn't be. So they're down on an investigation. The report was actually pretty good for AMAT. We'll touch on that as well. Tesla, I saw moving around here this morning. It's going to be an interesting Friday, November 17th, 2023. Tradertv.live starts now. Yeah, there's a look at the overall market. If you go to a daily time frame, we're chopping around right at the top end of the range, given what has happened with the overall market. Not bad for a few days here, holding up so well after as we said yesterday, it's pretty impressive 13.5% move from low to high in a matter of just 14 sessions. So straight upside for the NASDAQ specifically, and tech right across the board. But here we are heading into the weekend, trying to make it a positive week after this inflation data has helped things big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the nice jobs number that we got as well, helping cool things down with respect to fears of the wage price spiral. I looked to Sean today. I said, Sean, do we close above 16,000 today on the NQ? And I got the nod. So it's going to be a good day. Lots to talk about today. Gap, AMAT, lots on the hopper today, Brenda.
Yeah, we'll see how, or if I should say, these Fed speakers do anything. I mean, they haven't really over the past few days. I think it was 3 out of the first 4 that came through yesterday. None of them even commented on monetary policy, but obviously something we need to keep in mind as we head through a Friday, guys, looking to start things off positive.
Yeah, why would Fed members talk about monetary policy? I can't think of a reason why they would do that. It's not like it matters at all. You're getting another one of these days where you look left, you look right, and you have an earnings play, which is a little bit out of the pocket. I wasted all of the good puns last week for plug, so I'm not even going to bother with ChargePoint. They down 30% and getting smoked. You know, you hate to say when it looks like something's headed to like zero or it's getting really ugly, but that's what this one feels like here. AMAT, come on, man. Nobody cares whether you beat. No one's going to care if you beat at the end of the day if you have a criminal investigation against you. So that's another bad one. But let's remember, super big move in Intel yesterday. Super strong name out there. Microsoft still making fresh highs. We had an inside day yesterday for the most part, but it wasn't for lack of opportunities to find movers. So it's the same thing again here today. Don't forget second day plays. BABA, that was a report from yesterday that I think has a good second day run for it because it broke a flat bottom. Cisco held on to a higher low that comes into play potentially here today. So just kind of stick to what works. Even if you get another inside day, the number of names that move more than 5%, and we're giving you those types of opportunities, it were plentiful. So you just got to make sure you find those right names and don't get stuck muddling too much in the names that aren't going.
Yeah, and to speak about the right names, I am working on the sticky note as we speak. So welcome again to another good Friday. Well, thank you for that. I did have to load up the Stream Deck again, so we've got that working here. Yeah, it should be a good day. I'm looking even at SoFi down here as well, down near the 660 area. Looking at Apple up at 191. Just like I want to try to think about playing a little bit of both ways here, right? So like we have some names on the sticky note and what we're going to be talking about. This stupid chart here with these wicks, but Apple up here at 191. We crushed it to yesterday, stopped in the morning, faded out. So let's see if we can break that level today. Also some good buy areas of 189, and it's podcast time tonight, so we're excited to announce that happening later on. And we had a monster guest on the recap show, JC Peretz, yesterday. Went absolutely fantastic. And then what we broke down for you here yesterday was gap. And I said, remember, I was like, oh, we could gap higher. But that's exactly what happened here today, up 18%. Like, I thought this 1650 area, when I mentioned it yesterday, was something that was, well, that's through it now, this 1550 area was something that would be nice to get to. Not only did we get to that area, now we're at 1650, and we continue to go higher and higher and higher. Oh, man, you know it's been a good week when I'm starting to lose my voice already, and it's 8:35. So let's keep the energy going here. Trader TV Live, Adara's over there. Sharif's here, Brendo's here, Neil's here, Fabian's here.
Yeah, Ramin is definitely here.
Ram's here.
It's going to be an exciting Friday, to say the least. Yes, guys, there'll be a little bit of a change going into the afternoon. You'll notice if you look at the channel, there'll be an extra stream at 4 o'clock for the podcast tonight. Episode number 1 coming through at 4 p.m. But don't worry, because it'll be released wide on Saturday morning. So wherever you get your podcast, check it out coming Saturday morning. We'll touch on that a little bit more coming up. Michael Moss is coming up. He's going to recap the week after what we discussed going back to Monday. He's telling me he's still happy to be long and looking to be longer, possibly. So Mr. Moss coming through here in a few minutes. But let's touch on Boeing here real quick. The air show that was in Dubai this week wrapped up. And it was basically the Boeing show. I was reading an article last night that essentially was like, what happened to Airbus? Every major headline that came out, every major deal that was announced from this air show had Boeing attached to it. So
Yeah.
great for them.
Well, I mean, it was a ridiculous amount, Brendo, here. 295 orders for Boeing. Compare that to the 86 orders for Airbus. They're mostly for wide-body aircraft. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. The Middle East is becoming this hub to connect East and West, and therefore they order 30% of the demand for the wide-body aircraft. Most of these 295s are all wide-body. Let's see if they can deliver, Brendo. It hasn't been a question of demand. It's been a question of delivery, so let's see.
Yeah, the last time we touched on this type of a headline for Boeing, it was more, the story was more about how long it was going to take them to actually deliver these planes. So no details on that, but nice look here, guys, this morning, gapping up for BA.
Yeah, Boeing here, and the 200 period moving average, which is at that long-term level on the daily, the challenge is on, again, to close above it. I think it's got a decent chance here today. It already made two big moves off the bottom. The most recent one was that, reclaiming that $200 level, and it just recently rejected the 200 period, which sits at 208. And this is exactly what the stock needed to get going. And sometimes you get these consolidations off the top, and it lulls you into a false sense of, I don't know, security, I suppose, if you don't like volatility. But in this particular case, look at 208. Like, you're fine. It's resistance one day, it's support the next day, it's resistance one day. Ideally, it's support today. Like, I want to be going long on this stock as it's breaking out above this 200 period moving average. Now it has to decide here at the open whether it's going to hold this level. Like, you can't, it's here right now and it's not moving. So you can't make a judgment as to whether it's held this level. It needs to break away and show some buyers at the open above it. But this is a stock poised to make another, one way or another, it's going 10, 15, right? From here, whether it's today, whether it's next week, it could be a pullback into the 50 period. I would reluctantly, say that that's probably a good short if it doesn't hold on to this today. But I'm more looking for the trend continuation. It looks like it's broken a little bit of that downward trend, holding above the 50 period. I'd much rather be participating in this. I'm going to say more likely next week, because if I'm thinking inside day, I'm not sure we get through that 210 today. If it does happen, I think this one can go hunting to the upside. It's got a lot of room to rally. It was down for like a month or something in a row, and now you're starting to fill in a bit of that gap. And it's going up faster than it went down.
Yeah, I would just, I mean, just looking at the chart here, I just think you're at a spot right now that you're going to be wanting to take some sort of profit on Boeing. I mean, if you can get up here into this 210, I mean, that's where we had a lot of support, resistance, I guess, at that point. Up here, a lot of supply being sold off in and around 215 area. So I would say that, yeah, you know, whatever this news was, obviously it lasted a couple of days and then we just had that move back in. So for me, this is a pretty good sell in and around this 215 area. I don't know, this Boeing, like Brendan said, man, it's been parading around. You've had a huge move from 175 up to 207. I think it's irresponsible not to trim a little bit if you're long from down here.
So we got a super chat that I'm going to read. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer, for the super chat. $4.99. Appreciate you, brother. Strange dream hours ago. Came to Toronto. Neil was 6'8". I don't have an issue with that. Hopefully I'd be in the NBA. And huge muscles. Okay. Sean's 8 kids running around the set. I asked. It's complicated, he said. You know what's interesting? We were out with our high school buddies yesterday. It was we had just a few drinks with the high school
I'd
high
have
school
8 kids
crew.
if I could.
And that was actually discussed. One of the things discussed was, you know, with no restrictions like logistically or timing or all that other stuff. Like if you could, would you have more? And Sean actually said this last night. So maybe something
I said
to
I'd
it,
have
Mr.
one more. I just because
Okay, well along the lines, but was more the discussion of, you know, is there such a thing as too many? Is it like can you have, you know, whatever?
To me, when you have the one
so
kid, it's just about the personalities. It's like having 3, they're all so different and they all give you as a parent so many different experiences. So it's just like, I just feel every child, I only have 3, but like when one was born, it was a blessing. The next one was born, it was a blessing. So it's kind of like, you know, I would like to have more, but
Just don't Cromartie them. As long as that's the guy, right? It's Antonio.
Yeah. I'm not going to be having any more.
Antonio Cromartie was the dude that didn't even know the name of his kids in an interview. But again, it's
I
like
know 2 of the 3 of my kids' names. I cannot. What was that other one?
it's the 5 that are just sort of out there in the ether that you got to worry about. Shout out to you, Mr. Westermeyer. But I'm curious as to what the heck Brendan and Sharif were doing in that dream.
What did we do? What we were doing? I was.
No one's paying attention.
No, they're not.
No one's paying attention.
They have no idea
Back
what's
to the
going on.
desk.
They have no idea what's going on.
No clue. Anyway, do you want to touch on Lee here real quick? A couple of interesting notes this morning coming out of this auto show with both Lee and XPeng. We'll get Mr. Nawson here after.
Yeah, guys, before I even talk about Li Auto, you guys know that I'm involved in it. I have, a vested interest in it. So anything that I say, you have to view through that lens. But Li Auto got added to the Hang Seng Index yesterday. That, by default, usually has a bit of a boost. So that's number one. Number two, they're also releasing their new long-range vehicle. I believe they're calling it the Max. It's supposed to have about 500 kilometers worth of just EV range. Now, you know how Li Auto works. They're an extended range electric vehicle, meaning that there's about 1,300 kilometers worth of range. However, about 250 of that is battery only, and then there is an onboard generator to recharge the electric engine, and that's worked well in China because there is a lot more demand than there is supply for actually EV charging stations. So this will be their first foray into electric vehicle only, Brenda.
Yeah, it's interesting. Good look for Li Auto, your daily Li Auto update brought to you by Sharif this morning. Let's bring in Michael Noss, as I mentioned. We'll wrap things up for a week that's been, I mean, not a lot has happened, Mr. Noss. If you go out to the daily chart, as we saw to kick things off here this morning for the SPY, I mean, we're holding up incredibly well coming off of this inflation data that has definitely helped the market. I guess 2 questions. Where are we buying dips, and what do we do in the meantime?
Well, yeah, and that's the problem I've been having is that what do you do when the market's just ripping like this? So myself as a relative strength trader, and I've talked about this a few times, I have a problem when, and every trading style has issues and times where it gets hard. And these are the times for me. And the reason for that, as a relative strength guy, you can see that the chart of the SPY right here, just straight up over the last few weeks. I'm lucky that again we were talking and those October lows that I was buying stocks. So I'm lucky to have a long portfolio right now, but I can't chase stocks up here because if it's a relatively strong stock, and that means it's performing better than the overall market right here. So I can't just buy stocks that are up, 3 weeks in a row. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And at the same time, if I'm looking to buy things that are breaking out right now, well, they're by definition relatively weak because they're not breaking out with the market. So when it comes to adding new positions, I'm really kind of stuck. But when I was going through all of the scanning that we're doing over at Trade Ideas last night, if you go to the next chart, I noticed that it's kind of a split market, right? We have this heat map where it shows, these colors right here on based on whether it's up or down on the day. And you can see even yesterday being a pretty strong day, we had about half of the sectors down, and they were down pretty substantially. We still have TAN getting killed. FXI, China was getting killed. We have UNG, which is natural gas, having a hard time. So I do think there is times or are places, even in this strong market, to start to look to maybe add some shorts in case we are a little bit overextended and we move either sideways or down, right? So I want to preface that I'm not going to be shorting stocks if we continue to break out of this little range and start to rip. What I want is for the market to chill out or push lower. And then I think the names that I'm going to talk about have a chance to drift lower
Rinse
if
on
there is
USD.
no kind of tailwind from the overall market. So the next slide is just the scan here, and I know it doesn't look very great on screen, but I've talked about TI strength a lot, and this relative strength algorithm that I've made that outperforms the market, and I come to you guys often with a lot of these names showing relative strength. Now, this is something that was just added this week, so if you have trade ideas, you can go and refresh your system, and it will be there. Where I'm just calling it TI weakness. So I took the same algorithm and I just flipped it. So instead of ranking stocks by how strong they are based off this algo, it's ranking stocks by how weak they are. And that was my idea to say, hey, let me find some names that are not participating in this rally at all. If we do get some sort of a pause and pullback, I think these could push lower. So first one here is HLF. And you can see, again, we have these picture-in-picture charts, which are great. The picture, the little bottom corner there is going to be a weekly chart. And then the main chart is a daily chart. So you can see on Herbalife, HLF, not participating at all in this rally, right? Sitting on lows. The weekly chart looks terrible. This is breaking new lows all the time. And we have this descending triangle, and that's sitting around $12 or so. So again, if the market chills out and this thing breaks down to $12, I am looking for a short on this HLF. Now, next we have Robinhood. This just can't get going. I think the high of this was like 70 bucks, and now we're down to $8 a share. Gap down recently on some bad report, and looks like it's hugging at lows here. Again, you can see the relative weakness of the overall market. Again, I'm looking for stocks that do not care that the market is rallying. So under $8, this one could be interesting as well. Next one here is HTZ, Hertz Global. Already went bankrupt once. Maybe is it happening again? Who knows? But been in a downtrend for a very long time. You can see that weekly chart. After it came out of bankruptcy, it's basically been downhill from there. Hugging again about $8 a share, unable to get going with this market rally. Last but not least, and this one's a little bit stronger than the other ones, but the daily pattern does look weak here on Interactive Brokers or IBKR. Again, not participating with the rally. It hit a high on earnings and has just been selling off ever since. I would imagine that with rates backing off, you would have had some sort of lift in this financial name, but didn't happen, sitting around 78 bucks. If we break down that, and again, the market is weak, I'm going to look to take a short on this name. Now, I just want to preface real quick. Swing trading short is way riskier than swing trading long, right? I don't do it with biotechs or anything like that. I don't know what Hertz Global could do to triple overnight, but it's when I short the market, I'm basically putting on hedges against my already long portfolio, and I do that smaller. I just want to preface that for any new traders out there. If you're holding shorts overnight, the whole thing is if you're holding longs overnight, in theory, you can only lose 100% of your capital. If you're holding shorts overnight, in theory, you can, get blown out. So just make sure you're sizing accordingly. And if you are using the scan and you're interested in short, just beware of things that could be potential bio targets or have FDA news or biotechs or something like that coming up in the next little bit.
And just to recap on your initial point, that range is the important part, and any move to the upside or above that range would nullify any of these ideas.
Yeah, I'm very long and I'm looking for things to do. So if the market continues to rally, that's great. I just continue to sit on my hands, and that's fantastic as having a long only portfolio. But I want to make sure that I do have some ideas on deck. If we do start to break down, maybe we fill that gap from CPI or something, I can take a couple shots to kind of lessen the pullback that would happen to my long portfolio.
Yeah, interesting to see the financial tie-in there, and a couple of those names with the interest rate tie-in, as you were mentioning. So great stuff, Mr. Noss. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will speak again on Monday.
Talk to you soon.
Michael, and he makes a very good point. If you are shorting things, especially over the weekend,
Be careful.
you have to just know what the stories are, and because I'll tell you, and this is from some personal experience. If you're holding a stock short over a weekend and then you go to Yahoo Finance and the last 3 or 4 stories in Yahoo Finance are potential deal speculation when you know that Mondays are merger Mondays, that is a very scary weekend when you make that realization, so you want to do your research ahead of time. Robinhood actually, at these prices, they could at some point be a target for somebody. And that's a flat bottom break post earnings at that. It's underneath $8, it's actually $7.90, but that's a flat bottom break after reporting and getting shellacked, making a bottom, bouncing off of it, and potentially breaking further down. But I wanted to get to something before you kind of move on from here, because you heard Sharif talk about Li Auto there. And look, Li Auto was up 5%. The daily chart looks pretty solid here. Like you're not gonna find any complaints. However, I'm just gonna point out that the Trader TV crew all get Starbucks if Li Auto so much as prints $45 at any point next week. All it has to do is tick. It could be one share on a dark pool print at $45 at any point next week, and Sharif's going to get us all coffee from Starbucks. The last time this happened, I mean, Apple went ham, but it didn't go ham fast enough, so we didn't get our Starbucks, but now we're going to get it courtesy of Li Auto at 45. It has to go almost 10% though, so that might not happen. But that, on the other note, that Robinhood, there's a lot of flat bottom breaks in these bad companies. Just you want to see it follow through. For a day trade, it's simple on a flat bottom break because you punch in. It's like a breakout trade. You're in, you're out on the momentum. It's much different when you're swinging something like that. Because I think at some point Robinhood becomes enticing to a big bank. I don't know when.
All right. Because where's Fabian? All right. Because I love everybody here at Trader TV Live. If Li Auto does not get to $45 next week, I buy everybody Starbucks.
It's not as much
There
fun.
we go. Everybody next week, Sharif, gets Starbucks. It's just a matter of does it come from your pocket or mine?
Very good.
All right,
Look,
yeah, because I don't want to tease.
I only want it from Sharif's.
Okay,
I
buy everybody but Neil Starbucks.
I flat out only want it from you,
Does your
Sharif.
Starbucks taste better? Like, what's going on over there?
Principle is priceless. It's never about, like, when you make it like a friendly better way, it's not about the money. It's not about the Starbucks.
No, I just want Starbucks.
It's about Sharif having to do it.
Yes, I do hope
That's what it's about. Nothing else.
Yep.
Just Sharif having to do it. That's all I care about.
That was anticlimactic. Let's get, I mean, a few things to note here this morning as we get closer to 9 o'clock. We'll get into the rundown and the watch list as always. But before we do so, let's get some analyst moves, can we? Or, I mean, I can just do it. It's fine. Here's some upgrades and downgrades for you this morning. Zoom, top of the list here on the upgrade side. Citigroup, with a positive note on that one this morning. There's actually a couple on Roblox I was noting. We'll get into that a little bit further as we go. But Lulu on here, Airbnb downside, say it's not so, ChargePoint, and there's Cisco again under a little bit of pressure. Guys.
There. So Roblox did that thing where it goes down to 37 and bounces. That's step one. Step two has generally been, okay, you go from there, there's 39, there's 39, there's 39, here's 39. So from 39, usually to, I say usually, but I mean like the two times this week that it happened, bouncing into the mid to high 40 range, like 40 and a half, some wicks up at that 41 level. So that's the move that it could put on. All it has to do is hold on to the pre-market low for a run at the previous high. We've been talking about 42 as a potential short zone. As a potential short zone here for a Roblox. So just play the range. I mean, 37 worked yesterday. If it does the stair step, I would just look for it to hold on to the pre-market lows, and then from there, I think you have a lot of room to the upside. If it breaks down, you know, you just go look. I'd go looking for that 37 bottom one more time. Upgrade or not, this is a stock that has been on the right side of, you know, it was stair step up, and then this last move obviously was a big one, and it's holding on to both the 200 period and that 37 level. So as long as it's here, I'd prefer being bullish, buying the dip on those bottoms, and if it ever does break out of that 42, then the next step up is another 10% move. So Roblox is on the way. Just need to get the confirmation that there's an available trade in the middle, because the easier trade or the more obvious trade has been to trade the edges of this range.
All right. Yeah, yesterday we had those longs at 37.50. We weren't really thinking it was going to come into that, and it did. It was pointed out to us, and that was a good trade there on Roblox. I didn't think that yesterday, when we got long 46 yesterday on Cisco, like, I didn't think it would have been a great spot for a long-term position, but like maybe. I need to do a little bit more research on this. I did buy Oracle on the dip. I liked what they were doing in the cloud space there. I feel like Pan W on that dip is probably better to buy than Cisco, but it bounced off this 45, 46 area yesterday, and we had that exact long in the morning. We had this, we were long right at this. That's not yesterday, that's a couple days ago. Right here, right at this dip bottom yesterday, this is where we had that long at 46.20, 46.32 it was, bottom 46.20. And then now today you're up again. I mean, you're not up, but you're starting to get through that level one more time. So let's just wait to see what happens with Cisco now. Up to $48 is a very, very nice level. Cisco closed, wait a second, like why? So our thing is wrong. Oh, no. Well, I guess, yeah, I guess, okay. It's down. I was just going to say, no, Cisco had a huge move. Is this because we have these stupid wicks there? See, look at this move at the end of the day. That's what I was like, wow, okay. Monster move from 47 straight to 48 there yesterday. I didn't even realize that happened at the end of the day on Cisco. So today they catch the downgrade. Whenever you have a bad report, you know, they don't ever downgrade. Well, they do downgrade that day, but it's always, we always talk about, Neil was mentioning Alibaba there today, you know, second day plays and things like that. So I just feel that $48 here on the high side, I think we could actually break it. I mean, if this NASDAQ continues to go, like why did this run like that? The downgrade doesn't seem to have affected them that much here again this morning. So again, a pretty beat up name from yesterday. We've seen Intel get beat up and then battled right back and then dropped good news. I just don't know if Cisco is in the right space to like deliver that like knockout punch to the shorts. But again, a big name. I like it. I think we can break through 48. And if we do, then you could just punch long and then use some of these bottoms as your resistance or as your support, 47.80. So let's keep Cisco up. It's not going to do too much volume, but let's keep it up and watch it.
We're finally getting a little bit of a bounce back here today for oil, I noted, up 1.6%. The only sector lower on the week so far this week. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, we were down, what was it, 5.5%?
Ridiculous.
2 days, yeah, and 3% the day before that. So it's been a rough ride. So 1.7, obviously not going to get it back positive on the week. But yeah, the only sector negative on the week is energy. Yeah, go ahead.
And we were talking about on the midday show yesterday about wanting to refill the strategic petroleum reserves, which they haven't been because prices have been so elevated. So I kind of feel like we may be coming close to a bottom. We saw in the summer that $66 level was a really good bottom that you know that they were adding on. So I'm not saying they're going to be adding at that level, but keep your eye on it.
I mean, what's it back to today? It's 74, so a long way to go. But yeah, what a wild week it's been for energy stocks in general. Let's get into, we're a little early, but that's okay. Let's get into everything else that we need to know heading towards the open this morning. Sharif, as always, we'll kick it off with a look at the market.
45.23, Brendo, that's where we closed off yesterday. The overnight high, 43. 45.39 and a half. The overnight low 45.23 and a half. We're still looking at that peak that we made in mid-September at that 45.60. We haven't quite made it up there yet. Look for obviously the low of day 45.23 to be an area of support, and then look for that 45.60 possibly as the resistance.
As the march higher continues here, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that free for you every single day. Go to watchlist.tradertv.live, or you can scan that QR code, enter your email address, and then it just appears daily for you in the pre-market, free, as I said, from us. AMAT, top of the list here, Applied Materials. The report was good. The fact that they were apparently ignoring these new regulations from the U.S. government, not so good. So an investigation coming through from the U.S. Into what they were doing here for AMAT.
Yeah, and we've been making a lot about this on the show about how, you know, Huawei was able to reach some of the technology feats that it did with the 5G chip in the Mate Pro 60. There's been other things made as well about how they were able to reach these technological achievements. I'm not really sure what to make of this. Obviously, they reported and it was done well, but we're going to have to keep an eye on the Justice Department and see where they pursue this.
Yeah, a huge gap regardless here. What are we at? 6.8% right now for AMAT, guys.
Yeah, like what ends up getting lost is that they beat. I mean, clearly, like nobody wants to hear criminal investigation. Like, what did you think? It was a suggestion? I mean, the thing about it, like this kind of a thing, is like, don't get caught is generally how this works, and or find like workarounds that are legal, and we'll see how it all plays out. If you simply look at this technically and then understand that these types of things drag themselves out for a relatively long time, so you might get a bit of an overreaction, and if it catches a bid, you can get a relief rally, is usually my first thought. So there's your 50 period at 140, and then you had this, I don't know, like 140 to 142 zone, I want to call it, in the last week. Like right in here, it was not like it's chop, but relative to how it was moving, like it's kind of choppish, 140 with a 142 top, and you spent a couple of days there, you broke away from it. Inside that range, tight, outside that range, run away. So like out in front of that, I think is where the relief rally is. Price matters, so 144 isn't reasonable risk to be long in front of these levels. It almost needs to drop down and breach 142, and then I would want to work off that 140. That's the only dip buy I would see here. You want it to calm down. It's not doing a lot of volume off the open, considering the move, considering the news, and post earnings. I'm a little surprised to only see a couple 100,000 shares worth of volume and nothing happening in it right now. So I need this to start setting up at the open. Like I'm not buying it here, calling any kind of a bottom. But if it gets down into that 140, the other thing about that level is you get pretty close to down 10% if you get into that 140 level on AMAT. Bad news that, you know, otherwise pretty solid quarter. It doesn't matter. Like people look at that headline and it's like take risk off, partly because it was just at a 52-week high. Like you drop news like that at a 52-week high, people are going to lock in profits, right? Like if you sat in this all year, like it was a $90 stock at the beginning of the year. So it makes a lot of sense. There'd be some profit taking. I'd look to defend that 50 period.
Yeah, we were watching this name last night on the recap show, and then like the earnings weren't out yet. I think Brendan was sitting there beside me, and I was like, what? And then all of a sudden we looked at the news, and it was like, oh, there's the criminal investigation, and there's this South Korea, this and that. And then they dropped what was a pretty decent report, but it couldn't get going off that bottom. So I say it's a no-fly zone until this gets sorted out. Obviously down 7%. I mean, it had a huge monster run up. And like, you remember when we looked at Boeing and I said maybe trim some out that 215? Remember yesterday on Shopify where I trimmed some there at, well, it was 94 Canadian because I own it in Canada, but whatever that top was there on Shopify yesterday, right? And so this, you could never expect things like this to come through, but that's why sometimes, you know, greed goes on both ways. You know, like you can watch your stock go up, and if it hits certain price targets, sometimes, and we had JC on yesterday, and I asked him about Eli Lilly. He had a bearish take on Eli Lilly. And again, it was just that he's made, and again, you know, you can go back and watch. It was at 415 yesterday. It was great. But it was just that there's just only so much price action up here that I think he was putting on, I think it was the April 600 put. And then he bought those and sold 500 puts to get some yield or some cash. So anyways, it was that, whatever, you can go watch it. But That was a nice move there. And it's just like, you never want to go, I don't know if going short Eli Lilly is the right idea, but when you're looking at certain price targets getting hit, like there'd be nothing wrong if you went long Eli Lilly in, into this area off of a 200 or something down here, $300. And then when it got up and sort of broke into here, 370, like maybe you would get some out, because from here into past resistance, you could get some out. Then the next kind of level that anchors up, when you start to see it fade out, and then this is another top here, comes back in, I could see getting some out here. I don't think either one of those spots is wrong. Obviously, when you're looking at a stock and you continue to expand out the chart, you're never going to hit the highs or the lows of anything. So right now, I would feel like, and I know Neil and I have both done this, getting some out, because this top has hit like once, twice, thrice now. So next time it comes up here, I wouldn't blame anybody, and I might be doing it myself, get something out here at 620. Now, if that extends to 700, okay, but that's just being responsible. So I feel like the same kind of play there for AMAT, and you can never tell. You can never tell, and that's too bad that it dropped back down in, but it still has the 50 period here and the 200. This stock has been really working. And in this environment, it probably continues. I would say you buy the dip in the next couple days. Let it settle down. This is probably a name you want to get invested in if you're not already.
All right, it's been a week of Sharif is having a bit of a crisis right now because he just saw Li Auto's latest model that they released. But anyways, we'll touch on that coming up. Let's talk about retail. It's been a week of retail earnings across the board. Here's GPS now with a gap to the upside this morning. Trying to hold on to $16. This was really, there was a couple of things that were a little bit of a question mark. Seeing full year 2023 net sales could be down in the mid-single digit range compared to 15.6 billion year over year. So yes, it's positive overall, but a couple of question marks.
Yeah, you're bang on there, Brendo. Revenue was down totally on the quarter, 7%. However, profit was up. That's a story of margins. That's a story of cost cutting. That's a story of improvements in shipping. Here's what I wrote earlier. Gross margins, lower commodity costs, fewer promotions, a series of cost-cutting initiatives. We know they cut about 2,000 jobs. So, it wasn't just Meta having the year of efficiency. Gap involved itself in that as well. Gross margins continue to rise, 41.3%. Compare that to last year on the quarter when we had 38.9%. Good story, but sales are down.
Yeah. Just side note, there was a NVIDIA and DBX Dropbox collab that was announced there. Dropbox not really doing anything on that, but it's AI related, so just be aware, Dropbox, DBX.
Okay, and we'd like to be able to. We're going to see this Li Auto thing on the rundown.
Good.
Okay, good, because you guys are chuckling about it. We haven't had a chance to see it yet. We feel a little bit left out. Gap. Puns aside, Sean already used it once, and it's not going to be the last time it gets used. The gap is gapping to the upside today, but it is. Let's be real. It's a big move on an 18% short flow. This is a weekly chart, just so you can go back and see what's next. Like this is $19, and then these bodies here are like $18.25. So call it 18 until it's at $18. I don't think you're running into any major resistance. On the weekly, this is a 200 period on a weekly chart, which I don't really usually use very much for day trading, but this needs to get 10% higher before it runs into big resistance. Now that sounds crazy as a day trade, maybe it doesn't do that, but it's a big double top that it took out, and as long as it wants to hold a consolidation above it, it's bullish until it breaks underneath 1550 in my mind. And what you saw from, it was Macy's yesterday. What you saw from Macy's was all pullback, right? Like Macy's came in there, it tried to hold support. There was one bounce in there for about 30 cents and really just headed to the downside, but it's still above that 13 level. It held on to that 13. So there's a chance if Gap does the similar thing, I'd still want to look for the dip buy because I think the opportunity is gigantic, but you might have to be very, very patient looking for a bottom. Now Gap has twice the short float that Macy's does, and in some ways, okay, check that. It's not quite twice as much, but like 70% more. I think it's 11 to 18. But if you looked at that chart, Gap was a little bit stronger than Macy's on the chart. So I like the dip buy more in Gap than I did in Macy's, for the simple reason that it's a stronger looking chart. But you have to understand that yesterday you had to be in and out of that one, recognizing the trend was the other way. People were taking that profit hand over fist in Macy's.
Yeah, and I could see the same thing happening again here with Gap, and that's exactly what I wrote down here on the sticky note. We talked about that again and again and again, and we'll just do it right one more time here for Gap. So I just wrote down that we were going to look. I feel like this could get pushed lower with profit taking. I mean, it's exactly what we said. Then we'll springboard, being patient, but we'll buy a dip into. We got to show the screen here. I'm reading the sticky note. That we being patient, will be buying the dip into $15. So I feel like this is something here that we'll have to watch out for. Good move up. Will it extend? Maybe. I mean, it's already done 1 million shares. So and it's going higher. It's just once the market opens up, I just want to see, like, there's 1550, the 200 period. Let's see if it hits $15 right into there. I don't know. We'll just, like I said, there's the 15 top. We talked about this yesterday when it was down into 14. I was like, hey, if it gets to 1550, that would be great, but we extended much higher than that. So I would say this is a key area. And then if you even zoom back further, yeah, you're right into, okay, hopefully, okay, slow down. There it is. This top right into here is 1850. So that would be a decent shorting area. You know, I mean, if it gets there, then this stock is like really gone, and I think that'll be an obvious short. Like I'll be looking short 100% if you get into this like 18 area here. So let's wait to see if that happens. That's not out of the realm. Like if I think it could dip down to 15 on sellers, well then on a short squeeze, like that's $1.50 that way, then we can go $1.50 the other way too. So I think Gap has to be on your radar today. Good name. There's the short float, as Neil mentioned, 18% here on Trade Ideas. You can grab Trade Ideas right now with Trader TV 30 as well. Definitely needs to be looked at, probably traded. You know, an interesting name that we had yesterday that Brendan brought us a story about Amazon selling cars online.
Carvana.
You know, yeah, Carvana is pretty interesting as well because this company, like, they're not even making. Actually, didn't they make money last time around? The price to earnings ratio, let me see. I thought Carvana might have turned a small little profit last time, CVNA. Let me just check. No, well, we don't have a PE, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. Or they guided forward.
There was positive chatter on the report, but I don't think they made money. I
bet you the forward PE is something positive.
Yeah, I think there was a big turnaround talk, but
yeah, I thought they guided. Forward PE still says nothing on FinViz. Okay, but anyways, I was just thinking that Carvana, that's not good news for them. Honestly, like anytime Amazon's going to step into something like that, I know that it's not the same model. I get it. You know, Carvana has the cars. They have sort of those showroomy things. But if Amazon steps into that business, I don't think that that's going to be great for them. So you're hitting the 50 period. Obviously, it's sloping down quite dramatically. There is the 200 period moving average on the daily. So I feel like this name is in a little bit of trouble. And it's too bad because I would have liked to look at this a little more seriously yesterday. So Carvana up here near $35, $34. I don't know if we'll bump to that. This may just be a short all day today. So watch out for CVNA. It's not even performing that badly. It's just this is another name that has that huge short float, 37%. So, the shorts haven't won on this. Well, they've won lately, but, they had a hard time as this broke $50, $60, $70. So now you're starting to make that move down, and now there's a negative catalyst. Not great for Carvana.
Cars.com was the other one that was mentioned in that too. CARS. Yeah, not good. Here's Intel, 0.5% downside after a monster day yesterday on that upgrade. Nice breakout on heavy volume. Not really doing a heck of a lot here, but more a case of could it have another day to the upside here.
Yeah, Vijay Rakesh of Mizuho liking this bad boy yesterday. Price target upgrade from 37 to 50, citing the new foundry focus of this company. They are focusing less on chip design and now on chip manufacturing. They've got several foundries under construction all over the world. North America, there's a couple. There's in Europe as well. The only headwind, I would say, is this new adoption of ARMS type of microchip, which is supposed to use a little bit less energy, and it's better for mobile, for laptops. I want to see how Intel responds to that.
I saw this morning too, kind of interesting. This is going back to November 7th, or November 5th, sorry. So this is the latest update of short percent on Intel shares. So the latest one downside a little bit. I mean, not a huge move either way, but notable.
Yeah, that's not a gigantic move, but if you like yesterday, it was like a rip your face off rally. The big story, I mean, obviously the upgrade's a big deal. I think the bigger story was you had just broken out 40, and then you go all the way back to mid 2020 or mid 2022, and it broke out this 41 level as well, while simultaneously taking out a channel which existed since the beginning of the year, like the first bottom that got put in, and it held like this previous high. It was a very clear channel, and it just ran away. I didn't get to the long until here when it was breaking back out. So it did this dip in the previous top. That's 42.5. I like that level today. Like it was the early high into the afternoon dip buy support at 42.5. So if it's going to continue bullish, that's the level that I think you want to hold. And if it breaks that down, there's 41.85. It's probably due for some kind of profit taking to end the week. So if you're favoring short, I mean, on the daily chart, you really have to wait till $45 to find a level on the daily. But if you're favoring short or you think it can be a short-ish type move, then I want to respect the fact that it could be pulling back at the open and allow it to make that move in the downside before I try to pick up any longs in Intel. Super strong name out there, and only because we're talking about chips, was late to be able to notice Marvell's relative weakness, but eventually did spot it. It was down 6% before rallying a little bit at the end of the day. Again, a lot of things were bouncing. This was not. A couple of days in a row, this is to the downside. And then it showed this 55 level to us. So if this doesn't break out that 55 and this market wants to roll over, underneath here is where I like Marvell to the south side. And even if it breaks up, I think I would look at that 58 top on the week and respect that for a short on Marvell. It was just super strong relative to, super weak relative to the other chips. So I want to play that in the other direction.
Okay. Just called up Intel now for the first time, and it can't even chart it really for you, so I'm going to have to use another platform right here. Okay, so just looking at a 5-minute chart here for Intel. Okay, so it's pointing to the downside right now. It's going to open up lower than where we closed. So it's pretty interesting down into this area. I look at this 41.80 spot there yesterday. Remember, we had this top short. So we were very, very patient yesterday. We didn't have the long, but we waited for that short, and we shorted right there. And then we got it all out down here. We were really lucky with that. Then we tried the short again, right at that level, got out before it broke higher. So it took about a 10-cent hit or so on that one. Then you get that retracement back up to the upside. So this is VWAP right here. So what I'm thinking about is waiting for the fade back into VWAP to try that long again, which would be in and around this 42.50 area. So if Intel can come back into this area, I think that's important. And then if the market's really coming in, I won't sit there and buy it. I want to let it settle down and see if we can sort of hold this. And then if Intel comes all the way back into this area, 42, then that's where I think you can sit in and around 20s or 10s, get the fill, and then maybe use this 41.80 as your out. So like get ready for maybe like a 30 or 40 cent hit if you go long into this area. And then if the market can rebound, then you should be able to get it back to, green. Like there's enough catalysts around this name right now. Although it's way overextended. It's just like, what does overextension mean? I mean, it's just they want to buy it and it keeps on going. So yeah, I mean, I would say hold. I mean, I'm not selling any of mine, but that's for a longer term thing. It's just for the day trade. Is it overextended? Probably. But you're just going to have to let price action tell you that. So we're going to wait to see it dip by into 42.50, then 42 for a much bigger position, and then we have 41.80 as our out. But look, Intel on an upgrade is down significantly more than the market. So maybe traders are getting the feels that, hey, it's Friday, it's been a huge move up, and let's sell off some of the winners for the week.
All right, it's time to unveil, for anyone who hasn't seen, the brand new Li Auto Mega that came out this morning.
Here it is.
That's a hot mess.
It's very ugly. I'm just gonna say it's a mega. You know what?
Yeah.
But yeah, look, hey, I mean, if that's what flies over there, Brendo, let's have at it. And they're the XPeng X9, not much different, kind of the same looker there, Brendo. So.
Wow. Okay. So, anyways, that's the news, I guess. For shout out to Ramin for the rundown art on these as well. Top right corner right now. I don't know, thoughts here. What do we do with these stocks today?
Well, with respect to Li Auto, I'm involved in this, so full disclosure, it got added to the Hang Seng, so that is important for me to get added to that index. It's like being added to the S&P 500, the equivalent over there in Asia, so that's a good look. With respect to XPeng, looking to make a name for themselves with the X9. Let's see how they do. It's been tough for them, though, to actually turn a profit.
I actually didn't see the back end of that when I looked over to your monitor, but that just keeps going.
It is a major woof, Brendo.
Wow.
Hideous.
Don't show that
The
ever.
front end is the ass end of that thing, as far as I'm concerned.
I feel like that was like put out by XPeng as a joke against Li Auto.
No, see, here's the thing, right? Like, the XPeng one it sucks less, at least looking at the two of those. And that's probably because XPeng has a really good habit of copying Tesla designs. It's hard to look at that and not just be like, shouldn't we just all own Tesla? Like, really? Like, my first thought was, like, really? Like, Tesla can't lose. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Let's get into the price action, because I was expecting, the way that was teed up, I was kind of expecting that it was going to look really cool.
Yeah.
And then I guess you guys were messing with us the entire time. So you got us. XPeng, let's get to XPeng. This has been holding. It's a very gentle channel here. If you look at the daily chart, I had this line drawn, and then it kind of, I don't know why, like it didn't really save it. Anyways, I hit save now, so it should be there the next time I pull up the stock. So this gets anywhere near, and for some reason it doesn't want to continue that line. If it gets anywhere near the 17.5 zone today, then I think it's a fade up there. You saw it already make that high this week. It's not because of the design or anything like that. It's just like that was the channel on the daily, so short the top end of the channel if it gets there. That's my thoughts on XPeng. I'd love to see Li Auto get to $45 next week, but wow, that is one ugly van. Or whatever, I don't know what you call that. Is that?
They called it multi-purpose vehicle last time with XPEV. It looks the same to me. All right, so I'll go off script a little bit here. We have Amazon. I think I like this name. There's 143 from yesterday. You know, we had that short. We got taken out right there, which really sucked, and then it blasted right to the downside. Couldn't really break 143 until it did. It only got to 143.50, then came back in and then closed at this level. So I was really liking this Amazon in and around 143. It's come in quite nice. So we're going to, I guess now with this market fading out possibly on a Friday, we talked about this yesterday, 142 and change. It was from Westermeyer. He gave us that super chat, and then it said only if Intel falls. Well, Intel's down now more than the market, so that might be the sign. But no, 142 coming in. That's now sort of a new level. So anybody that's looking at the sticky note, I'm not going to buy 143s right off the open. We'll wait for that 142 area for Amazon, as retail's been hot, obviously, over the last little while there. You had a big number from Target, then Walmart cooled it down a little bit. Then you had Macy's yesterday. Now you have Gap today. And you had Amazon going yesterday as well, and Amazon making that move off of 148 all the way back down to 140. And we actually held 140 really well. So that sort of showed me that, you know, could be, a bottom to invest in, I don't know, but for a day trade, I think you can go long now knowing that you have some support there at 140.
Man. Sharif was just showing me a Peloton, a used Peloton that is for sale for $400.
Wow.
On Facebook Marketplace. Crazy. Anyway, let's talk some Roblox here. I pulled up Peloton to see what it was doing here this morning. It's positive on the day, but anyways. Apparently they don't hold their value very well.
No.
There's a couple of contrary analyst moves here for Roblox, noteworthy though. Goldman, shout out to Benzinga. Goldman Sachs maintaining a sell on Roblox. They did raise their price target here. Wolf Research upgrading Roblox to peer perform and increasing theirs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a contradictory move here by both those rating agencies. Let's go back to November 8th, though, when Roblox reported some of the data points there. The revenue was up big year over year, about 38%. The daily active users that we talked about, up 20%. And I remember giving you this tidbit, you couldn't believe it. 16 billion hours of engagement by users on the quarter. That's up 20% year over year. So look, if they can turn a profit, fantastic. They lost about $277 million on the quarter. We'll see what they do next time.
Neil, you were just asking about the price on that thing. It was 600 million or 600,000 yen, whatever. I haven't done the conversion, but 600,000 yen, I think, is the price on that.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the chat will tell me how much that is. I could look it up myself, but actually, before we get into Roblox or get back to Roblox, because we did mention it before, we just talked EVs and looked at a couple of nasty ones and then didn't go over Tesla. So apologies for that, because I'm sure most of you care a little bit more about Tesla than you do about Li Auto, except for Sharif. So Tesla yesterday, not good. EVs recently, not good. I look at this, it's like a pivot spot here. You had to close on Tuesday around 238-ish, support the next day at that price. And then this little lower high here, 237.5 or so. As long as we're underneath that, I want to be thinking bearish, but it's already dropping in Tesla. So if there is a pop, I'm fading a pop into that level on Tesla. I think they're almost the same thing on Rivian. I just don't know if we get a chance at levels that are going to matter on Rivian. As far as Roblox goes, load. It's a New York stock, and there you go. As far as Roblox goes, I think now that the market's starting to come down, maybe you get a second chance at that 37 area. 37.5 is exactly where it bounced in terms of finding the higher low. If we get back down there again, it's held going back to last week, but the more times you test a level, to me, the less you kind of like it. There's two ways you can express it. I generally tend to think it's going to bounce less when it shows me that same level the next time. So if we bounce off this level again, I'm not really thinking it's going to go $1. I'm generally thinking, hey, go 50 cents there off of that bottom that we put in yesterday on Roblox. It doesn't mean I don't want the long there. I'm just not expecting as big of a move when everybody is probably seeing that same support level.
Palantir up to 20 is nice. The only short that I'm looking for shorts right now, but the only one that I actually wrote down on the sticky note here today was Apple. And I basically just mentioned that yesterday's, we talked about this at the beginning of the show a little bit, but that 191 that we got to yesterday morning, seemingly not available right now. So we'll wait on this name as again, this goes against sort of what I normally do, because it's relatively strong, right? It's up 0.4, 0.8, 0.7, whatever, against a red market. So this idea may not be great, but I am sitting there at 191. So any kind of a pop-up here for Apple, I think we'll try to short that against that 191. That'll be a really quick trade, because Apple's been obviously, look at this. I guess in the last 15 days, there's maybe one red candle there, which makes sense. The NASDAQ up over 14% the last 13 days. So there has to be some kind of sell pressure coming through at some point. What's up, Brendan?
Just real quick, guys, make sure everyone, you stick around for 10:30. I'm really excited about this. We have an absolute legend coming through from the radio industry in Toronto, who is now the CEO of Red Light Holland, psychedelic company listed here in Toronto. Todd Shapiro is going to be on the show at 10:30, 10:45 this morning.
Oh my goodness.
Psychedelic kind of Friday.
I'll tell you this right now, if you own shares of ChargePoint, you probably need some of those to make it through your morning. It's now down 35%, and $2 is more or less on the bid right now. So
damn.
This is look, it's already broken lows. I tried to go back I don't think you can go back far. I don't think there is. It's got to be all-time lows here, because when I took my weekly chart back, I was like, I'm not zooming out any further. I think that's as far as it went. And $2 is on the bid. This is going to be a potential for an SSR bounce, because shorts got to take profits somewhere.
Wow, Apple.
If it's at $2, that's definitely a possibility. If it breaks this level, it's going to be SSR. I mean, you can't really hit anything on the bid to the short side. I was going to tell you, wax poetically about a pop and fade when I sat down, but it's now 40 cents from that price. It's got to be a huge move to give you a short off of that level. Alibaba, with only 2 minutes to go, I didn't want to get to a second two-day play or second-day play.
Yeah.
Alibaba, obviously to the downside with bad earnings and all the Chinese ADRs. It broke a huge $78 level on the daily right here. If we come to my chart very quickly, can we?
Nope.
Okay, there you go. Like there's 78, kind of like 79 there, but 78 on the daily got broken down and gapped through overnight. If it tries to get back above that price, I would take one shot to short it off of that flat bottom break level. It's still $1 away from that price, so I think we can be relatively patient. Intel's starting to drop in, so I think there's going to be a chance to look for that patient dip buy. And I'm with Sean on Carvana. I mean, if at the end of the day, like that's not a great story for them, the one we got yesterday. I am looking to fade that one if I get the chance. We already talked about Roblox, waiting for the dip buy, and then Gap is the other one. GPS, still chilling in the middle. It's not like 30 cents here, not much of a range here, but I like what's going on if it can hold on to this bid and make a secondary run at a squeeze. Just keep in mind with Macy's, you have to be very patient looking for a bottom.
So another name with only less than 30, well, almost 30 seconds left. Just real quickly here on the sticky note, we do have SoFi down here at 660. So I think that this is going to be another level to look at, that bottom of 650. Hold it a little bit past that, but right now SoFi up 1.3%. So hey, in the market coming down, SoFi looking like a bottom, and I bought some more of this yesterday in my account as well. So I did buy some more SoFi. I think there's a good chance there for this to work, and we'll see here as we go for SoFi. So I did buy some more yesterday. All right, 765, we're getting ready. Here we go. I'm looking at Apple. I'm looking at Amazon. Hit it, Adira.
In 3,
2, and 1, and there we go. The psychedelics have hit already, I see.
Yes.
Okay, so we are now instantly short Apple at 190.40. So we're in the money. There it is, a quick little money maker right there, 40 cents on Apple. We just took it out. Oh, well, actually, we only took out a third of our position there on Apple to start the day with that quick short. So we wrote it down, we took it. There it is, it's Apple, quick one right there.
Yeah, charge point is at that, wow, it smoked $2 and then actually held it pretty nicely. Like if it's an SSR bounce, I want to risk on a $2 stock 1 or 2 cents. But it just got underneath to 199.9. I saw a dark pool print in there. All it has to do is hold. It hasn't opened. I don't think it's opened yet. It's a New York stock, and I want to see an opening print before I get into it. Otherwise, I would be long at 01s, but the stock hasn't opened yet, and it's on the NYSE. BABA's not really doing much. Intel already starting to bounce, but I like 42.50. You got to wait for 42.50. And Tesla didn't get the memo. It's only going down already. All right, now charge point's now open and immediately took out that $2 level. So it has to regain 2 if I'm going to try a long.
Okay, we're only in, so right now we're in the money 50 cents on Apple, but it's the only name that we're in on so far. Here it is right here, Apple making that move back down. We've got it, we're still in the third of it, so it's all good. I am watching Amazon, and Amazon's doing exactly what I sort of thought it would, dance around this 143 area. Again, look at the market pulling back, man. This is why we went off the beat there a little bit with Apple. It is starting to make that move now, right? So it's holding this 190. You could cover it again right now if you wanted to. It's just held it. It went down as low as 189.90. I'm going to hold this one. I actually want to get more short in Apple. Let's wait to see, but I'm waiting again. Here it comes. Now we're breaking through that 190 cleanly. Apple right now, Apple really starting to go. So there it is to the downside now through 50 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents now for Apple. AMD though right now, let's go back over and have a quick look at that one. We've been shorting this thing off 120 and I just wasn't looking at that here today. That would have been another good short coming through, but right now it was Apple. Apple just bounced off that 189.80. So we'll put another bid down there, see if we can get it again. AMD possible short up there near 120 as it continues to fall.
AMAT now flying into the upside.
Yep.
Wow, that's a wild, wild move. So much for 140. It bounced off 142 clean. I wanted it underneath that price. They got to be very, very patient with this Alibaba. It's showing some signs of strength. I do want to give it to that 48 level, but AMAT is the upside story here for that relief rally. Too bad it never reached our price, and I see people in the chat mentioning this name going strong to the upside. NVIDIA making a run at 500. That's going to put the name that I wanted to fade today under pressure. Well, pressure if you're short, and that's going to be Marvell. It just wicked 55, which was my level. So as NVIDIA went to the upside there, so did Marvell. It just got back underneath that 55 level. So I'm going to get in, give it to the local high, and take my first swing at this level on Marvell, who reports, oddly enough, next week, just like NVIDIA.
Okay, yeah, we were just, I guess, thinking about the same thing. New position alert. We are now in the money again on AMD. We just took 30 cents there on those 65s. We just took 20 cents. We are bidding down here into the 50s for AMD as we short that. Here it comes. As we short that as well. So we've got 2 trades on, both now 50 cents in the money. Bring the pain right there. Let's go. There it is again for AMD, shorting that one. We just talked about shorting that 120 level. We took 119.82s. There it is right now. Let's see if we can get a bid down here near 119, and it's happening again for us, so that's going to be good. There's Apple breaking lower now as well, so we'll go 2 for 2 to start the day, as there it is, another fill for us on AMD, and it's starting to push lower, lower, lower right now. So far, so good here today. Wow. I mean, we talk about this, reading the board, right? Reading the board really well. There's SoFi. We'll see if this is going to happen for us. We didn't read it that well because we're not long SoFi, but we did put SoFi down there on the marker to get long into the 660 area. So if that does come through, we wouldn't mind doing that. And then right here, I'm just going to wait. I do have a bid down here at 119 for AMD. It's probably pretty low right now, considering that we don't like to be in too early into some of these positions, of course, here as the day starts, because with the amount of shares that we're doing, it's like I just don't want to make an early mistake and then be like, oh man, we got out too early. But the one thing we're not getting out too early on, there's another 60 cents right there as we drop in more for Apple. So 2 for 2, pretty clean so far, man. Neither of these names have gone against us. It's Apple, it's AMD, and I am putting another bid down here for advanced micro devices in the 20s.
I just saw Marvell take out that high. I'm going to be in and I'm going to be out very, very quickly. That is a gap that can fill into 58. Alibaba just took out 78. I'm not going to be able to flash to that before getting in, so is what it is. It just flashed that 78 level and came back underneath it. Alibaba, wow. We like that 78 flat bottom break. That's it there. It just got up back into the top, so I got it back short at 89s. Ideally, I would have like 98s or something like that. I only want to add if I can get a price tighter to that 78 level even on BABA, as that stock now only down 1.5%. But watch out for, I'll get to Tesla in a second. Brendo?
Yeah, just be aware, guys. Fed's Mary Daly speaking right now, and cue the hawkish comments once again for about the 3rd day in a row here. Some questions being raised here. Fed uncertain if inflation is on track to 2%. Daly saying Fed unsure about length of policy lag. So the hawkishness coming through once again from Fed speakers.
Oh, the Hawks.
Yeah, well, we're already short, and we just got that fill there on AMD. So, I mean, let's just go. I know the professor likes to hit all this all the time, but there it is right now. We're almost $1 in the money on AMD. We're 70 cents in the money here on Apple. And I mean, honestly, like we just reviewed this just before we went online. We talked about Apple getting that short. And I know that some of you guys in the chat were like, yeah, you agree with that kind of a play. So hopefully you guys have it. It's now 80 cents in the money and going lower and lower and lower. And there it is, Apple right there for you. Go find it at Trader TV, Sean. It's the sticky note. Put a lot of work into it. So make sure that you guys look into that. Apple, there it is, still going. So we'll wait. We only have a third left of it. Again, we don't put on the huge positions right off the open, but that huge is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, it's whatever you guys want for your size that's out there. But nice move down. Look at this. All we can do is give you the play. And there it was, Apple downside. Pretty good start to the morning again. This is probably my best start to a morning in a long time. We go 2 for 2. Well, that's probably not true, but 2 for 2 with both really big winners, and the logic made sense. So there it goes. We'll just continue to hold it and see where we can go from here. Congratulations to the morning for everybody.
Yes, sir. And congratulations back to anybody that's holding these onto these shorts. They are going to work out. Just watch out for AMAT is the only thing that's actually ripping faces off, and we'll get to that one in a quick second. I did get into BABA, didn't want to switch to level 2, but it broke 78. It was a false breakout, got like a few pennies above. It's right back into 77.5. I've taken some profit on the way in. The wick top on Marvell at the open, I'm always, if I'm going against the grain on a counter trend trade, I'm going to stop it out tight. And if I see a re-entry point, then I'm going to re-enter if it sets right back up. So I'm at 55, actually hit 55 as it was coming through, and I give it to that same local high. So it's the same setup as before, and we just jump right back into it. At that moment, and look, whether, regardless of what happens to Alibaba, at that moment that was happening on Alibaba for that top, that's when ChargePoint took $2 again. So I'm not long charge point on the way back through. You probably could have punched evens or ones or even got a half print the way that the stock trades, but it just got to 205. It made a bottom at 195, so good hold. It's going to be short sale restricted because it's down a bajillion points, but it is making a bit of a bounce here. If it retests that 2 consolidation above, I think I would look for the long one more time off that 2 level on charge point. Brendo.
I'm not sure how this is not a cannabis stock, but it's not. Tenet Healthcare Corporation, hospital operator selling 3 South Carolina hospitals for about $2.4 billion. So THC up 12% today.
Okay.
Everyone thinks that's very funny.
I don't know what. Why would that have been a cannabis? Was that a cannabis stock before? Yeah, okay, hospital operating.
Say, huh?
It's a hospital, yeah, it might be. Yeah, I'm just hearing it in our ear. Okay, all right, so by the way, as we go, man, we're just still watching out for Apple here as it continues to go to the downside. Apple now, let's do it. It's official. There it is, off the sticky note. It's $1 in the money right now, so it joins our first dollar club of the day. Thank you so much to Aaron. Oh, it's because this... Okay, that's why I didn't get it. It's because the symbol's THC. That didn't even cross my mind.
Oh,
okay, so
I
that's
didn't.
why. Yeah, that's why Neil and I were like,
We didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Sitting in here right now. So there it is right now. I want to thank everybody for that little bit of a roll call situation right now. Chef Joe, what's up? Chef Joe cooking. I'm sure you are too there today. So congratulations to anybody that's there. WBP wants to look at some Palantir there right now as Apple just keeps on going to the downside right now. We do have a special guest coming at 10:30 to talk all about psychedelics, so that should be a lot of fun for us to learn some information. I do not believe there's any free samples being passed around at all, so we'll still continue to trade in our sane of mind state right there. Okay, so AMD just bounced again down here, so I'm thinking
Roblox
like this
37
is going to be.
Let's check that.
What was that?
Roblox just broke down.
Roblox breaking down. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bid here on AMD quickly and then get to Roblox because.
This is falling fast.
Okay, so I feel like this whole market could collapse then maybe a little bit here.
So yeah, look about that bottom on Roblox. This is not like the way it's falling at the open is a little bit different from yesterday. Like it checked up at 38.30, then it made a bounce, and then it fell again. So it's a little bit heavier going into this level. I think you want to look for some signs of strength. It's way heavier to the downside than what we were seeing in yesterday's trade. So you want to be a little bit careful. I'm going to hang on to Alibaba. The way the market's falling, just let it fall. Let it flush if this is what it wants to do and don't get in its way. It was AMAT, AMAT was absolutely flying. It got to 149. I liked 150 for resistance. It never quite got there. I would think at this point, AMAT looks like it's a relatively strong stock just because it's like a relief rally. So if the market tries to bottom, that could be an opportunity to get into AMAT, and I would think the same thing of Cisco. So Cisco, market's dying, and Cisco was just holding on to levels and holding on to support. You got to like that as far as I'm concerned. So put that one into the relative strong bucket as well, Cisco and AMAT, oddly enough, for 2 names that are bucking this trend.
All right. Sorry to do it again. We have 2 trades on today. This is why I'm excited, honestly, if we can get options and things like that. Like, look at the damage here today. We have 2 stocks we've traded, only 2 stocks. We've talked about getting a lot more specific and everything with what we're trying to do. So there it is right there. It's back-to-back jacks right there. AMD and Apple both making these moves, and Apple's an actually really, like, imagine we had, and maybe some of you guys do, and I hope that you do, like 190 puts, something like that, 191 0-day expiry puts. Like, I don't know, again, we have to wait to see what the, not just what the commissions are, but that's going to be important as well. But, what sort of premiums you have to pay on that stuff. So I don't know how much they'd be printing. I mean, I'm quite frankly happy with making this on the equity side of things right now. Dollar both ways. We've done 2 trades today, both into the dollar club, and it's a Friday. I'm super, super happy. It's only 9:42 right now, and the damage is being done. Amazon right now, 143, still hovering around. This is a level that we liked as well. I know Neil hinted or looked at GPS a little bit. Wow,
it's already gone.
Yeah, up to. So I was to me, I know you talked about this as well. Like these levels are fine, but I feel like we want to wait until it gets up to 18. We talked about that 18 level here on GPS. It actually goes back into this area here. So I feel like, you know, we still can be here with GPS, but would rather just wait to see that level, or which Neil was mentioning there, it's already gone. Like, I don't think that dip buy, like that was probably the dip buy right in there into pre-market lows. But again, I thought with the short float and with dip buyers winning already yesterday, that there might be some profit take. There's SoFi again, and without, you know, 660 we're bidding. We're bidding 661. So we put that there. It did make a move down. Held. So I really like this name as well. SoFi trying to bounce off that level. I did buy some in my own account yesterday on the midday show, and I didn't even talk about it on the afternoon. So we'll wait to see what happens here. SoFi, I mean, it's basically this price. So I like it against this shelf. But then we got that Robinhood downgrade or whatever today. That could be something that...
Speaking of Robinhood.
Are you in it?
No. I just got out of BABA, but Robinhood just broke $8.
Right, okay.
So you actually heard the NOS boss mention this is a flat bottom break. That flat bottom is actually $7.90 if you look at the daily chart on Robinhood. It's not $8 even. If it gets to $7.90, it's a flat bottom breakdown, which is suddenly on my radar. But Alibaba just bounced for the second time off of 77 here. So it's hard to see, but there's one bounce. It did make a secondary bounce off 77. I'm out of the stock. We went 78 to 77. Charge point doesn't look like it's setting up. Roblox was falling like a ton of bricks. And I really thought we'd get 37.80. It seemed inevitable a second ago that we were going to see 37.50 on Roblox. And all of a sudden, it's catching a bid. It's not. This is not the entry, because if you go long 38, you're holding it a long way. Until I think the support level is. Brendo, what's up, bud?
CRSP, Kathy Woodname, nice move here through 65 on pretty good volume as well for CRISPR. CRISPR and Vertex getting a gene therapy treatment approved in the UK as of this morning. So CRSP on a nice move.
CRISPR therapy.
Carvana, sorry, that's the other name.
Carvana.
CVNA. Too many symbols in the brain sometimes. Carvana catching a little bit of a bid. If you subscribe to the theory that the news is bad for them, it caught a bounce, got to 32, just slightly above it, and then rolled over. Look exactly where it opened and failed, was at that 32 level. So support in the late afternoon. Looks like a little bit of resistance. It pops up in here and fails under 32. I want to look to fade this on the move to the upside. When we say fade, we generally mean short into a move to the upside. For anyone that is just tuning in now. Charge point still not doing much. Although it is bouncing. If you got twos, you're probably laughing at this point, but not really giving me an opportunity to get into this. I only want to risk like a few cents if I'm trading charge point, not 10 cents. And you're risking less than 5 ideally if I'm trying to catch a bid.
Uber hitting VWAP. Uber's trying to head to the downside a little bit right here. I was just looking at that.
That's a great daily chart.
55. I know, I love Uber. It's so good. Yeah, this has been a good one, man. Like I said, I was lucky enough to get involved in this like down at $30 or something, and it was for the first time. And it's just like, I was just talking about how much I liked the autonomous ideas with Uber and being able to get back going there, and I use it all the time. So it was just like, okay, let's buy this. I mean, again, new technology. We talked about companies that didn't even exist 25 years ago. Like, how about 10 years ago? Probably Uber in and around that area, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, another good technology that I like. As I talk about Uber, I think I like the short, actually, against this 54.50 here. So let's wait to see. That's the 200 period. We are starting to fade down a little bit. But I just tweeted out about AMD that we've covered. So there was a good move there. We still do have 20% as it's making its way back up. What's up, Brendan?
Amazon just popping up here on some volume. Apparently going to be cutting, quote unquote, hundreds of Alexa-related jobs. So a little bit of a move there for Amazon.
Okay, well, that's above 143 where we want it, so I feel like I have to address this and just go long because that 143, we liked it, so I am going to try to punch a little bit long here. I don't like that move up against the news there because we should already be long 143 with no news, but we are letting it try to settle down, so there it is, getting a little bit too early on that move, but we don't have it. But thank you for that news there, Brendo, because now at least, all right, I'm just going to punch in a very, very small bit here. We just got some 44s or 45, so we'll just punch in a little bit because I was just, as Brendan was talking about it, it was down at 30. you know, and I put a bid immediately at 32, then at 39 and missed them all. So we'll just pay up a little bit right now for Amazon, get this long because this is what we wanted, but it's not a big position because I'm still waiting for this to come back in a little bit. You never want to buy right away on that kind of a news. I do think it's great, obviously, but we'll wait to see what happens here with Amazon. And there it goes again, just another one here. AMD against that 120 if you still like it. I'll take it again here.
Yeah, I just saw a wick down in Intel, which seems crazy, but it did actually print 42.56, which was very, very fast, and then it slammed back into the upside. I tried to get some at 65. I think this is where I want to try to get the long. It looks like a reversal candle. There's two ways to get long here. Like, you can actually get me filled in front of this bid, or it just puts in a nice consolidation above it, and I can go along whatever the consolidation is above that. I do think I take not GPS, Alibaba if it gets close to 78 again, but it's at 77.40. So right to get out, not necessarily setting up to get back in. I don't know what else you can say about Gap, except that it's already made its decision, and its decision is to continue to go higher. Until it gets to 18 to it was like $18 to $19 on the daily chart. Till it gets there, it's still got room to run. I'll look for a dip into 17 even for some kind of a dip buy. I see that Mullen is moving, but you know, the names that I'm looking at this morning, we already talked about, like Intel, Alibaba, ChargePoint. That's where my head's going to be at. So I'm not going to get to Mullen until a little bit later, probably.
All right. All right, so we're long Amazon. We just reloaded again right there on AMD. We talked a little bit about that. So we got a little bit there at 75. So let's just take, hey guys, like we're still here. This could be another 25-cent win, hopefully for us now on AMD. So again, just stick with the plan. And someone just messaged to me a little while ago there on Twitter and said that they weren't having a great week, and I said no, just don't force anything. Let things come to you, and hopefully if you make the right trades, don't overreact. To try to make everything back on your P&L or anything like that. It's not necessary. Try to make the best trades and just try to focus on those, and then hopefully you'll be able to put things together again. Humpty Dumpty style. Okay, so there we go right now. We are long. I mean, there it is. There's another winner. Thank you to Brendo for the update on this one. Because there goes Amazon. So we have another win right here, 25 cents for that. Trying to bounce around. I noticed these pre-market highs, but I am sitting at, oh, my blotter's not sorted alphabetically, so I can't see. Did I just get filled? No, I didn't. So, okay, so I'm not sitting upside. So I do have to put an offer here somewhere to get out, because this is a nice move into the pre-market high. So let's just do that right now. Can we, I just put 72s and it just flashed down on me there. So hopefully there it comes. Oh, get back upside, give me fill. We're still missing the fill there. And there it is right there. Thank you so much. Well, that was another one coming through there today. So far so good here as the market continues to rip and off that bottom. AMD could be in trouble here. We're waiting for 120 specifically to get short. And then Apple had that huge move down. We're still going to hold a small piece here for Apple, but we should probably put a bid down there at 189. This could just be kind of one of those flattish days now.
Yeah, if this ends up being the range, it's still a good enough range that you can work with, especially with the names that are going a little bit overextended. So I'm actually in Rivian now. I want to get to Tesla. I'm going to do it this way because I don't want to get off my Rivian chart because I just got in position there. Tesla down 2.5%, was down 3%. Bit of a double bottom forming. It's giving you a consolidation look, but underneath that 230, bearish. Let's just leave it at that. And then I've been expressing trades in the EV names, specifically in Rivian all week. I just prefer it. Lower highs in. I just took a short off VWAP. I'll play it to the low of the day and try to rinse and repeat it. Keep looking over to see if BABA wants to bounce, and it does not want to make any kind of a bounce. It's crazy. Like, the market's going back into the upside. You would think they would have some juice to it. As far as AMAT goes, not really much of a dip. Like, the market got all the way to the bottom. AMAT didn't get anywhere near that opening support level at 145. And Cisco as well. You can be patient with these things, but sometimes patience is not a virtue. It's an impediment because Cisco continues to. I got a bad wick in here. It's hard to see. This is 48. I was looking 47.5. I think it's just time to get on the bid. It's only 20 cents higher right now, so I'm going to look for the 48 level on Cisco. Day 2 play. You saw it hold the bid yesterday. showing signs of strength today. Lots of room to rally, just given how far it was down in yesterday's session.
Okay, just making sure we don't have the right amount of trades here because here we go. We did this. Remember we did this yesterday? We wind up getting out of AMD, and then it was like Amazon wicked the tops, and then we got out of AMD, and then we kept on shorting it the rest of the day. Was able to make it back. Maybe it was the day before. I think it was yesterday, but here you're back at this 120 level. So we're engaging again. I'm just going to get something out as this comes back in. I was just going to say, let's start to piece a little bit out if it does come back because we didn't. Okay. Because we did not want, because we didn't want this to get away from us. So hopefully this can come back in just a little bit more here as we just did piece out 30% there at 90 as it's coming back in. I do have another small piece here at 83s. Give it to me right now. Oh, that was us bidding there at 83. So hopefully there it is.
Awesome.
So there's another one, guys, for you coming through. So another good trade there on that AMD short off the 200 period moving average. So we're going to go 3 for 3 again today. We talk about making sure that you stay in your lane, stay the right stocks, keep your eyes focused on the right names there. So Apple. You know about that one. You know about these AMD trades. That's another reload right there. And then Amazon's now still 50 cents in the money. So 2 of these names are sticky note trades. Go over at Trader TV Sean and go grab those when you can. AMD, just that is 72 as a bottom right there. So I'm going to bid something maybe 77, 75. See if we're lucky enough to get another dip down, and then we are, of course, bidding into the 50s as well. So far, so good here, man. It's just another day in the lovely city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
All 3, you give it to them. This is the day of the relief rally. You just saw Cisco's to the upside. Obviously, AMAT got crushed and is now upside. Pan W just hit 250.
Kaboom.
Congratulations.
Like Panda. I actually thought 250 would be something we'd be talking about next week, not today. But if you're relatively strong in this market, I want to be looking long. I'm on the bid of Cisco right now to pick it up, but where do you join on Pan W? Let it calm down. It's almost 10 o'clock. That's usually the moment at which I like to reevaluate, check out where the range is, see where you can stair step something up or down. Doesn't really matter. Like maybe Hood breaks that bottom. You never know. So let's look for a pullback in Pan W. But I do not want to be short this name after what I'm seeing. I'm only in Rivian for now. The aforementioned Robinhood, it's trying to get to this bottom to break down. And what I'm actually thinking here is I like the short. So if it's an 805 high, I can also be short at 8 with 5 cents worth of risk. We'll go ahead and do that. And if it breaks the bottom, then I don't have to worry about getting filled or getting that punch, or we call it punching when you remove liquidity. But I'm just going to sit in this one. I like the short in this stock, and I think you can absolutely flush. BABA now wants to take out 77, so after bouncing a couple of times, it's now trying to resolve lower. I want to set up the next short, which would be off of this level, and VWAP. I think it was the right decision to get out. Momentum was reversing, didn't get back up to 78, but you can always try to make that next trade, which would be shorting it underneath VWAP in here on Alibaba. Tesla, a little bit of a bounce. I'm watching that closely as I'm into Rivian to the south side.
Yeah, Tesla, good name there. AMD, it's still going, and we just got that fill. So things are going really, really well here today. I hope it is for you guys as well. I want to thank every single person in the chat for watching, for supporting the show. Got to come tonight. We have our podcast. Brendan and I will be on the 1s and 2s for the first podcast happening tonight, immediately after the stream. So join us for that, and make sure you like and subscribe so you get the notifications.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
DWAC over 17. I don't like DWAC. We've talked about why
Volume is bad on
that name is, and it's volume related or wow. Again, we just got another fill there on come on AMD, man. Actually, this is true today because that was Apple. Another one. And then this is AMD. Another one. And then that's Amazon. So 3 for 3 there today. No matter, pick your poison, whatever one you like, you can take that right now. But so far so good. Let's just keep the motivation here. Keep it going. Here today as we continue to, work hard and find some good trades for you. I was just going to mention SoFi one more time because we did have the long idea on this, and once again, I'm bidding 61s. I'm not 100% on this one, the way it's moving around right now. So let's just continue to watch it. SoFi, I don't like how red it's gotten here today. So I'm still bidding there. I'm going to lower the amount of shares that I'm bidding just because I'm not overly convinced about this name because of where it's going right now. Like I thought maybe if this market bounced like that, maybe SoFi should be up here and we would have missed the trade. But I'll still sit there, take a little bit. And then the main reason is just because of the support that's down here at 660. So like we're here right now and I feel like, not irresponsible not to take it, but definitely a trade that could come through. And I'd look back and be like, oh man, we should have maybe taken that. So we'll try it. Everything's working out really well. We only got out of half of our Amazon. We don't have a big position. We're still waiting for 143. So thanks for all the nice talk about that one. It's more this stock right here that's going to be the P&L for me. And that's going to be AMD because we stood in its face there, shorted it on the way up, taking profits now back on the way down. So this is exactly the way that I'm trying to trade right now. Be specific. SoFi for another day. Yeah, I think it's good for long term as well. But we'll wait to see what happens.
Where is SoFi? It didn't really hit that bottom, did it?
No, we were just going over it. 650. Well, it's right there right now. So
I did just get into Carvana on a fail on VWAP, but if you remember the channel on SoFi, like each time it's tested this, it's just been a little bit lower. So I've moved my bar down to about 630 for support, which means I'd want the long a little bit tighter to that level on SoFi. It's channeled down into that level, which is particularly weak. We're about to go to the desk, but I did just get the pop on Carvana to be able to short it. And so much, I've moved my bid up on Cisco because it keeps going. So I want to buy the dip, but the higher it goes, I'm just a little bit higher now at 48.20. Let's go to the desk for happening now with a desk.
The stocks in the U.S. are currently on track right now to have end on a high this week. We were bolstered by some earnings with Gap. We also do have Fed speak coming up throughout this morning, so keep an eye on that. Yeah, as you can see here are the Qs. We're just slightly negative on the day, pretty flat, but there's a chance that we could end to the high side. In terms of stocks moving right now, we do have Applied Materials. This one was interesting. We actually had flat earnings report last night, but there was also a routers report suggesting that there is an investigation going on with regards to chip restrictions. So keep an eye on that one. We also have Amazon. This one, there's just news that they are planning on firing hundreds of people from the Alexa division. So that's just a report right now. Keep an eye on that. Brought to you by Surge Trader, where traders can get a funded trading account up to $1 million and keep up to 90% of the profits. The program has simple rules and no time limits. Just go to surgetrader.com/TTV and use the promo code TTV for 10% off.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Promo code.
Always use the promo code. If you don't take advantage of a deal, I always feel like it makes no sense. It's like when people don't check a lottery ticket when they have it. That's like my pet peeve. You can not buy a lottery ticket because you think they're a waste of money, but if you have one, you should at least check it. Vana did make another run at VWAP. I thought we'd get a money fill above here, which didn't happen. Like it made the run to VWAP, did not take it out. The money fill means you short it here into that level, take some in front, take some on the other side. You wait for the money fill, you don't always get it. It's back into that low of the day. Just to get to Robinhood in a second, because the market's rolling back over. I'm sitting at 99, which I feel is a little bit, in some ways it's greedy. I'm just gonna get on the offer at 97. Like I think I'm splitting hairs with Robinhood. If I want to be in this short, I should get something in here on the way up to that 805 level, and then just look for it to flat bottom break eventually. Cisco just pulled back because the market's pulling back in. Okay, Cisco chart. 15 minutes, all good. Cisco closed at 48 even. That's where my first defense is going to be to 48. The pre-market lows all the way down to 47.70, but I'm looking off that 48 level first. So we're into Cisco for the first time today. If it had been 47.5, great, but it's not going to be going to go long off this 48 level. If it can hold that, this is the kind of stock that could just kind of gradually rise all day long, as long as the market doesn't completely puke all over itself.
But yeah, the market just did puke a little bit there, and we were able to get a 37 fill in AMD. Like, this has been another good shorting opportunity off that 120 level for AMD again here today. So we are getting light. While we only have a quarter left of this position. Where's the market? So the market's still under the 50. It's still under VWAP. I still want to look short in this market. So that's what we're doing. We're staying short. It's $1 in the money for Apple. It's good, not a dollar, but it's good enough here. Not good enough. It's never good enough. For Amazon, for Apple, sorry. And then Amazon right now just took out on Adara's report there, and everyone must be listening, took out that 144 and ripped to 144.20. So that was a great opportunity for me to have gotten out of this, to be honest with you. It just kind of like extended itself. But again, we're not, you know, I told you the position. I'm not in it as much as obviously I wanted to, because I just bought it on that news and we were chasing it. So my first bid, when Brendan brought us that, cutting me from some employees from their Alexa division, it was at 32. I just pushed bid enter, and then like I should have just I don't even have a market key set up, but I should have just marketed in or aggressively limited that in and taken it there. But instead we had to pay this level 44s to get this, and I just was like, it just bumped up literally like $1 almost from that bottom there on that news. So once that happened, that was too late. And so I'm waiting for it to pull back. So any kind of a pullback. Now we have 143. Like I put my pullback lower into 143. Now VWAP and everything is at 143.30. So we'll have to, I'm just going to cancel some of my stop orders. Actually, I don't even have a stop order on Amazon right now. So I'm going to, and that's again because we're waiting to get longer down here. And my stop was going to be 142.50. But now I feel that this move has happened. So now we'll have to maybe think about this again and try to figure out where we want to go on that. PayPal, that was pretty cool. PayPal at 56.40 could be a nice little bottom as well. I cannot believe how well this stock has actually done from its bottoms as well. Yeah, 50,
Oh, not today.
50-ish down there for PayPal. I feel like that's a good bottom, 54. But on the daily right now, it's still red. Okay, I thought it was green on the day. 54, 56.40 there, not bad. And then I know you're in Carvana, but I wanted to sort of see VNA, look at that myself, because that was a name that, okay, so it's doing this. Okay, so yeah, Carvana for me was more, all right, so yeah, it didn't really get going today, but it's nicely down. So yeah, short again, playing relative weakness. I definitely like that one. And by the way, here we go. Can we get it? Amazon again. We're going right now. We have $1 in the money on Apple short, 30 cents in the money on AMD short, 80 cents now in the money for the Amazonia long as that is breaking out. And again, we wrote it down here at 143. So that's why, again, so happy with the way the day's going, but not happy, and I told you about the share size, not happy that we're not fully invested here.
So I will go over Macy's in a second. It's doing what Gap is doing. It's up 5%. But I got in and out once on Carvana, right in here. We're able to short at 54. We got 29s. It just reloaded it at 60, and then it broke that top. So if it's going to give you the stair step down, I want to take it to that level. If it gets back underneath, I probably re-enter the trade. I only want to be short Carvana off that news. If you like the long and find support, good on you. That's just not the way that I'm looking to trade it. Maybe the 15 minutes going to show you a little bit better. There we go. So I think it's valid. I'd probably take a short at 33 as well. The bottom of the channel coincides with the bottom yesterday. So like that short corresponds with this level. If it breaks higher, I want to short it off at 33. If it breaks 31, I still want to look short on CVNA, but I'm going to get out when the getting is good on that last trade. And Rivian takes out pre-market highs, but it's a wick top. Nice. So I'm probably wicked out. Well, I am wicked out. Okay. Tesla's still going up though. So like Tesla's still going up. A lot of times like this rolls over and I should wait for that to get back into Rivian. Both are relatively, on the last few days, relatively weak. But today, Rivian's actually up 1% and Tesla's down 1%. So Rivian might be doing its own dance to the upside. I am in that Cisco long and have not been able to get into AMAT to find any kind of a bid. AMAT, there just hasn't been a pullback that's workable on AMAT. It's just sliding to the upside. The spread's like 10, 15 cents. Not a ton of liquidity, so I don't want to get way too out in front of it. Got to be some kind of a dip buy available to us. Intel, same thing. I want to buy the dip. What the heck? I want to buy the dip on Intel. I think we have to look at VWAP now because that move into 42.50 didn't present you with too many opportunities to get in. Now I look for the over VWAP play on INTC. The market still very much rainbound. It's stair-step downside, so I only want to be long anything that was strong yesterday or gives me a different look, which is like the day 2 relief rally plays. Everything else, I'm still looking to re-enter shorts, including Alibaba.
Okay, guys, so we just are covering as we speak. We just did cover it to end the trade on Apple. That just came right back into the spot that we wanted to get it in initially, and that was that. And there is the cover for $1.20 there on Apple. So you can see that's what we're going to do right there. We'll post this up again. And we talked about it off the sticky note. So none of this is surprising to me. We wanted the Apple short, came in. We got it out right there back at day's low again for Apple. So you have to be happy when you make a call and it literally goes right back to where it should. It's home, downside there for Apple. The only mistake there was we reloaded AMD, which is not as great as AMD's trying to go back up to the upside right now. But again, I told you we covered 75% of that AMD trade, so we're almost out of that one. But there's the move down for Apple. Again, pretty good call there. Was on the sticky note. Just thought, again, we had a problem yesterday breaking through 191. So we don't have 191. We had 190.50 there, 190.40, but we had the top of the day. So top of the morning to you if you had Apple, and it was a great move back down in. So nothing to complain about right there. So nice move there on Apple. Amazon was $1 in the money. It got up there to 144.50. I feel like that's a good little level. So let's put an offer there, 144.40 for Amazon. If that just continues to go up all day, fine. Thank you so much, Rob, for that. As we get our little owl mug right there. Thank you, Rob. And great color pink here, very colorful. So we like that.
I'll take one if you can.
Wow, that's hot. This is the hottest that coffee's ever been, by the way. Wow. Okay. I like that. I hope they fix that setting.
Sometimes I burn my tongue, so it must be pretty darn.
This is really hot. Like I love hot coffee, but I was not expecting that. Wow, that was might have burned my tongue a little bit there. That was crazy. Okay. So, anyways, Amazon. I didn't even put that order. Oh, I did put it out. So 144.40s for Amazon. If that comes in, great. Now I'm shook by the coffee, but it's great anyways. 119.80 maybe here for AMD. We did not reload this. We probably should. Let's reload a little bit now. Again, so I'm like, you see, when I'm debating it and kind of struggling with the logic there, but then I just looked at the market, and the market's still under. So that made me think about putting another offer there. I'm just a little disappointed because of how well Apple went, and then this didn't go. So it was sort of giving me feels that maybe it wasn't right, but apparently it is damn well right, as we'll take another 25 cents right there.
You have to remember the chips have been at vast points of this week doing their own sort of thing, not less. Like they can be trending with the market, but they're not moving lockstep with the market. So I'm back into two names that you might remember, and then one name which we haven't been in yet. You can see the long is in Intel, short back in Alibaba. It just got to VWAP and failed. That's all, like nothing crazy about it. And then CVNA turned into a, here we go. Still not NM, hit enter way too fast there, Neil. So it wicked out the high, failed, and starts to come back in there off the same price level. So I'm just working, there you go. I'm working off of this bottom channel that it had yesterday. And as long as it tries to hold underneath that 32, I want to take my pot shots at it. I'm long Intel for the first time today. It's a little faster than we were long yesterday because, well, you know, we sat out the first part of the move yesterday on Intel. It just bounced off of VWAP. I said the next trade I take will probably be a VWAP trade on Intel. It ends up being that. If it can hold on to 42.80, I like it. Got to get back above 43 before I'm taking any profit on that particular name. And then Robinhood hasn't really done much of anything. I'm short at 97. It's at 98. I do want to be able to add to this and just sort of sit in it for a bigger move. Like when it's not moving like this and it could flat bottom break, to me it's worth it to be in here. And if it breaks the bottom, like if it breaks the top, it's an easy out. Like you risk less than 10 cents. But if it breaks the bottom, I think it could fall all over itself. And I would add if it tries to break said bottom. But it has to happen first.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is be patient with everything, right? It's like you don't need to jump into anything. It's like what we talked about with that SoFi, wait for your price. Actually, I'm going to check back in on SoFi. I was just looking at AMD, but okay, so SoFi did go back up a little bit, but not enough for me to really worry about it. The thing that I'm worried about is I noticed that me and JC yesterday both were like this. Worried. Money. Okay, so I'm reading that Trading in the Zone, and the thing is that I've gone like a third way through it. It's an audio podcast, and I've been out pretty much all week, so I haven't really had my same routine. But the thing is like this. you know, we should just trust. Like, sometimes you got to sort of take away some of that noise, right? It's like I'm debating this trade now, and it's not great. So I'm feeling it really good because like we could have loaded it up there, but look how far it went down. It just keeps on bouncing. So I'm really happy just scalping this out and not being overly confident in it. So I feel that that's actually pretty good because it is a nervous trade. It's not really moving as well as I thought. So I am reading this actually pretty good. So we'll take another, there we go. We'll just take another fill right there again and get some out. Now we'll hold in case that move is real and it does come all the way back down into the downside. But like just a couple reloads there. And I feel like, did I just get filled again? No, I did not. Okay, I don't have any bids on AMD until much lower now. So I feel like that 119.60, as you guys can see where VWAP is and where the 50 period is. I feel like that's going to be a good one. Check back in on Apple. No! So we took it out for $1.20 there on Apple for the win at the bottom of the day, and now look at it collapsing all over itself. Hey, man, we can have them all, but you got to get out at some point, and that was obviously, looking back, a little bit of a mistake there for Apple. But hey, we had the call. We had the sticky no call in the short. We stuck our neck out there to short that Apple. It did work out for us. We have the high of the day, but unfortunately, we are now out of it. There goes Apple to the downside. Ho-hum. I mean, for 10-13, where we're 3 for 3. Hard to complain, but
a birdie once told me.
Yeah,
it's not a birdie, but it was a wise person once
Yeah.
said, if you follow your plan and get
Right.
the move, you cannot regret that it went further because it was never your plan. Like if it bounced, look where it bounced on that chart. See on Sean's chart for a second. Like it consolidated at that level, which was a double bottom.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a decision-making point, and you take the profit out there. Like you just can't get mad. You
No, not disappointed. It's
yeah,
just,
it happens. It's like if there was a re-entry, I'd be mad if it missed a re-entry. But the market is taking out the lows. So let's get to in the second. The market's taking out bottoms. This is the bottom. This is yesterday's bottom, about 30 points lower. So we have some room before things get really, really nasty if it breaks to the downside. So there's still some room to get there. I think if we get to that bottom and bounce, I want to be covering some shorts. I have Intel long. I just took a little bit out of that one. BABA, I should have waited for the money fills over VWAP, but it's now back under. I want to respect the low of the day, at least currently on Alibaba. Carvana, just to go back over to Vana. I missed that money fill. Sloppy entry, price matters. Thank you so much, Rob. It just got
tell me if that's super crazy.
It just got to VWAP and then immediately bounced. So I took this out because it immediately bounced and showed bid the second it was under VWAP. So I have to be a little bit tighter here. If I'm going to be tighter out, you need to be tighter in on those entries at that 31.90. And then Intel was the other new position to the long side. Bounced off VWAP. I'll stair step it up and then just look to rinse and repeat this within this range, 42.90 to 43.10 for the last 30 minutes or so. Okay, I'm going to... But you've now told me how hot it is.
No,
so
I just want to see if maybe I just won the jackpot there. I don't know. I feel like
I'd say this is pretty normal. Like
Okay.
I didn't just burn my tongue, so I don't know why that's that funny. Did you want me to burn my tongue, Sharif? No, it's just pointing that. Oh, okay. No, like okay. It is hot. Don't get me wrong. Like
it's great.
It's hot.
I
It's
like
just,
it. I
it's
prefer
not like
my coffee.
Yeah, it's not burning your tongue.
Crazy boiling hot. Like these Yetis, actually, mine's in the car because I finished my early one before I got here. I just have one of those small. It's not as small, but the Nespressos there.
Those are good.
Off the open, yeah. When I'm driving in, shout out to my wife who makes it for me by pushing the button every single morning. We used to make. She's with my kids right now that are at hockey, so the kids are off today. And my daughter's at a hockey camp with all of her friends, so that's really good. And we signed her up only for the half day, but then she got there and was like, she wants to stay full day as well. So wow, shout out to my wife that's doing like all this stuff with them every single day. So yesterday. My son Barron, yesterday, we were out with all of our friends. I can show you the picture in a minute. But I missed his chess. So he has chess every Thursday. And he told me that he's only been going now for maybe a little bit more than a month. But his record is 7-2. So I was pretty impressed with that. So I was like, geez, that was pretty good.
I have one suggestion for chess club.
Yeah.
And that is at least play more matches, as many matches as you can, against the person in the club that can beat you.
Oh yeah. He just needs to find that person.
Yeah, it's just no, but seriously, it's like, well, if you lose a couple,
play higher level.
Because I find anyways, I grew up playing against my older brother who used to whoop my ass consistently. And that's how I became a pretty good chess player. Like, I just constantly losing and then learning and then losing. And
Kind of like trading.
well, I did a you-know-what move. I beat him in high school and then told him, I'm never playing you again.
I mean, my guy.
And then I say you're only as good as your last game to him every single time.
I think you now have an advantage too of like chess.com has like the
there's so much
AI
on
and
it.
all those apps and everything. So like you could put in, I think he's a level 3.
It's a little different
Right,
now.
yeah,
When I was
so-
growing up, you actually had
You
to
had to
play
find people.
You had
Yeah,
to play
that's-
people, man. Like it's
That's why we signed him up for this, because I told him, now you're going to play chess IRL. You know what that means? Yeah, in real life. I did this
that
to you
one.
before.
Come on,
Yeah, I did
that one
last
I
time.
know. I know. In real life.
I didn't really know what it was. That's why I feel real special saying that. In real life. So he's playing it in real life.
I know some say.
Right now. All right, there we go. We did just get out of it. AMD is still my #1 stock today. Still my #1 stock. We told you we were getting those feels about being nervous about this stock. So we just reloaded. Look where we reloaded this one. 15s and just got out at 20s. So as Sharif says, pump it or pamp it, what do you say, as we go, because there goes Amazon right now. So we'll hold on to this bad boy as that is trying to get back into the Dollar Club as well. I'm actually going to cancel this. It has nothing to do with Dollar Club. I was going to get out right there at 144.50, but if this market has potentially made a bottom at 15.8, I mean, the reason why I say that maybe it's made a bottom is because we did this yesterday. Like this was the level that held, and it just held. I mean, we came 30 points away from it. Neil actually talked about this yesterday. Handles, someone put in the chat handles or points. So that's generally a handle on the futures is just one, like 0 to 1. Because you get quarters inside there. So, anyways, depends on what futures you're looking at. We can just keep going on that. But Sharif's the professor at the midday, so I don't want to steal his content. No, we're just talking about the ticks on futures. And how we call them handles, and then they tick in the quarters and things like that, depending on what you're looking at. But here, I can call it up. Here, what is the futures contract right now that we're looking at? ES slash, oh, it's this slash Z. Oh, yeah, it's Z. I have it up right here. What am I even talking about? All right, so there it is right now. So this is what it looks like. So those of you that are trading on your own platform may have, you could do ladder view. There's different opportunities here on our platform, how you want to look at it. But the idea and why I don't trade this, you could see, well, hold on a second. If I zoom this out, you'll see that it's quarters and O's and 50s. So it's just, for me, the SPY is the ETF for the ES. So if you don't have accounts that are margined for futures, or maybe you don't have your buying power in there, you can look at ES. So for me, it's the exact same thing as trading SPY. It's just that I myself, and I feel like it's the same for Neil, because we never get, if we both decide to choose to trade futures, it'll be Qs or
It'll be the Qs
or the TQs. And that's just because, look at this. It looks very similar, if not exactly the same as, for example, like look at that level 2, and then look at Apple, right? It's the same gateways. It's the same feel, the same flow, because it's an equity, right? So that's how that's trading. But we are ready to go over to the big desk with, happening now?
Small cap recap.
I was looking at Adara, and she was just...
Yeah, we're all smiles. Safe and Green Development is this multi-day runner, this one. SGD, this is the 5-minute chart in this. So we are down a little bit right now, but we are still up 100%. The news on this one is basically yesterday saying that it does not intend to conduct the initial share offering that it had proposed. So basically withdrew that offering, trading higher as a result. Next, we have Altamira Therapeutics, CYTO is the ticker for this one. The company has entered into an agreement to sell 51% of one of its subsidiaries. So this one, as you can see on the daily here, up about 250%, really strong. Last but not least, we have Canoe, GOEV. This one actually had earnings on Tuesday as well, but right now we're trading upwards because they have clinched a major contract with a shuttle for 550 electric vehicles. Keep an eye on those names, guys.
Very much there, Adara. There's been a lot of small cap runners. I know someone was yelling at me for Mullen moving today, but you got to pick and choose. Mullen, I'm sure it's having a decent move to the upside, but then you zoom out and you realize that it's not. 10% doesn't mean anything on that stock when it's a penny stock. Cisco, it's still holding out at 48. Some position in long. If it holds on to 47.90, then I think I'm good. If it gets up to the high, it's tough. Every time I get rid of this wick, it just keeps on coming back, so the scaling is not going to get too much better. But this while hard to see, is 48.30. If it gets up to 48.30, I want to take one out there and then see if it can run. Robinhood, we did get another fill in there exactly at 8. As that one loads up here, there you go. So I'm short in here. If it breaks out this, I'm not going to let it fill in this gap. I just want to be short in this consolidation level and give it to 806. So it's a pretty easy sort of risk to reward concept there. I see Zai in the chat saying Roku is running.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a hot minute since we've looked at Roku. Whoops, that's a NASDAQ stock. Since we've looked at Roku, but I always want to find relative strength and weakness in a market which is on the stair step down and weak. You want to look for some strong names. This looks pretty good. Breaking out the highs, holding 90.
That's a nuts stock.
You held an 88 level. Look at the wick down. That's a bullish setup for me, right? Like you have support when it's a strong stock, pulls all the way back in, wicks the bottom, running underneath 90, and then holds at 88. Rejection underneath 89, and now stair step up. I think usually I want to join the stair step to the upside. So on the 3-minute chart, here, which is now all of a sudden getting camera shy, there you go. $90 looks like pretty decent. VWAP looks a little bit more interesting because that's where you had some accumulation. So if it fails 90, I'd still be thinking long into VWAP. Like money fills under 90, 89.4 is an out. But Roku definitely setting up pretty decently. Alibaba's just chilling at VWAP right now. Like not a lot is happening. I got 77.09 and it's been a 20-cent range. I'm out in here trying to get a bit of a bid in front of the current low, and then we just want to try to hold it all the way down. The first short was the better one. Reloaded off of VWAP here and just looking for another push into the downside. Not much happening after that first initial move on Alibaba. I want to get to this name because if I forget to say it now, then I'm not going to get to this. Coinbase just made a huge bid off 95 and is continuing higher. This is where I remind everybody of $100 on Coin. Why is it still Alibaba? $100 on Coinbase. That's 100 the last time we got there. Nice rejection off that top. The daily chart's going to look just as interesting at the $100 level. So it's halfway there after bouncing off 95. We get there at any point today. I look short first. I mean, it could break out 100, but I look short first.
On
Coin.
Yeah. Obviously for Coinbase as well, man. Make sure that you guys definitely check out the Bitcoin like spot futures or whatever you're looking at there because that's going to be something interesting. We like Coinbase around here. I think Coinbase is going to be a good stock to trade. So I'm happy. Now I'm happy. Remember, we were sad, and then Neil was like, you followed your plan, which was accurate, which was good, because now Apple's all the way back to kind of where we got out. So that was a good out, I guess, other than the fact that it fell down. But I do think that point is well mentioned by Neil because you gotta.
Well, I think Greg used to say it.
No, but it's like, I mean, I'm going to look at the same thing here, and I'm going to talk about it in a negative way right now because. Like AMD. So we got out there, and now look, now it's tanking. But the plan of action was to get out there. So it's kind of like the fact that it's tanking now is great if you held, but at the end of the day, it broke the level. Look where we got out at 20, right? It goes all the way to 40. So I saved myself 20 cents. So that's kind of like a positive way to look at it. It's like saying I didn't have that apple fritter, but then I saved the calories, but then I lost the.
No, there's no positive way to not have an apple fritter.
Yeah, I should have not used apple fritter because then I should have made.
That's a very bad apple analogy.
But it's just like
you
sort of take the good with the bad is what I was trying to get at. So.
There's only good with an apple fritter. There's only good.
Right, yeah, so there is only, that's why I'm saying that was my bad that was a bad example. But anyway, so there goes AMD. Sorry, but we did have it, and it was pretty good there, but not good enough. End of the day. So, yep, that's what we're doing right there. AMD with that nice move coming through, and we're really excited, for continuously trading all of these names. So hopefully here we go. Apple making that move back down. I feel like we probably should have shorted that off the 50 period. That's going to be something to look at for sure. Right now, Apple 189.50, maybe a decent short. I think I'm going to put another one on here for Apple, guys.
So I'm going to I apologize in advance. My Cisco chart, I don't know it's literally just Cisco. So I keep going to my 15-minute because that's what my 3-minute looks like. It's a bit of a mess. So here, Cisco just bounced and got to the top end of the range here, or at least close up to the top end of the range. It just took some out. It regained VWAP, so I added at 48, and I feel like that's going to be the rinse and repeat spot. Again, frustrations looking at that chart. I get it. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. This Robinhood trade, I feel like we're just going to be sitting in this one for a while. It might just be there forever. But watch out for you. Oh, my goodness. Vin just said watch out for Tesla. As I got Tesla up.
Is it ripping or tanking?
Well, okay, this is on a 15-minute.
I just shorted Apple here.
Big liquidity grab underneath.
Like
holds 230. It gets us on the march back up to previous close. So close was 233.5. Pre-market highs at 234. But it's starting to wake its you-know-what up. Why is that so funny, Sharif? To the upside
Sharif
here.
has a lot of funny things.
No, he gets giggles at everything that we say. It's like, my daughter laughs at everything I say, but she's 6 years old and she thinks that everything I say is funny because I'm her dad. But Sharif, nothing I said there was funny. It's just that.
Sharif slapping the fail on you, too. Wow, okay, Sharif.
You know what, though? I'll tell you right now. Thank you, guys.
Professor.
Tesla is definitely waking up. The market is waking up. The opportunities are always going to be there. And right about this time, we always ask you to remember, if you like the show, like the show.
Yeah, buddy.
If you're enjoying this video, please take a
second. Oh,
like
Sharif is hot.
And never forget, do not put pineapple on your pizza. I knew it was coming, baby. Why is it even an option to do that? Like, if a graphic gets hit, then the graphic should get played as far as I'm concerned.
I'm just going to make everybody really happy and just do this.
Unbelievable.
Like and subscribe today.
You know, then we don't have any controversy coming through. So, all right, we are, again, you know, we were net short Apple. We talked about getting short Apple, and here I am getting short Apple, not at a great price. So Apple's really getting heated right now. We are going to stop out of this once we break this 52 level. There's a decent size there. We're short at 34. This will be 20 cents. It's going to suck, obviously. You never want to lose on a trade. But right now, we're going to wait to see VWAP here on the market. We should have waited for it. We're in this a little bit too early. VWAP for Apple is right upside. So if we do, that size doesn't mean anything, guys. There it is. See, it's 15. I was going to say it's 15 million shares on the day. That was 100,000 shares. So we'll slap the fail on that reload there on Apple. I don't think that the trade's done yet. So let's not get too carried away with thinking that. It's too early. So 190 there on Apple. We should have waited. That was a mistake there for sure by getting that level there on Apple. So we'll wait for it. We'll wait for it. AMD dropping back in. The thing is that we talk about being very specific with our trades, and the point is that we're still under VWAP right now, and we still are above the 50 period. So that's not giving me feels. So when you don't get the feels, you back away a little bit. So right now, I feel like we should back away and wait to see what happens here with Apple. So let's do that. But the one trade that's working out for us, which is now, again, a Dollar Club member, is Amazon. So there goes Amazon up to the high spot of the day. And again, just feeling a little foolish there that we sort of ignored more shares down there at 143. So we still got half on. It's a beautiful move. It's $1. It's running. It's a nice upside play there. And it's Amazon.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, this range that we're seeing. I guess we're going inside day again. Here it is. Short tops. Long bottoms on 25 points on the NASDAQ. And if you're looking at the ES, it's not that much different. So all you can do at this point is like rinse and repeat for the smaller range. I guess the big moves might have happened, at least for now. And if that's the case, just change expectations, scalp the 20 or 30. Like for me on BOBA, it's like scalp the 20 or 30 cents, which is not what I was looking for at the open, but I have to be able to adjust to that now. So that's the adjustment I'm going to make in here on Alibaba. Cisco, my chart's still not that great. Intel's the one I want to get to, as Intel just gave an underfill, so higher lows. It just gave an underneath VWAP fill. And if we're going to be range bound, as we creep above VWAP, we're going to get some out on the way toward that high, just to rinse and repeat that trade. I can be patient with Robinhood because I'm already trading a very, very tight range on Hood. But I did want to respect, got to go over to CVNA. Like CVNA is the one that sucked this morning. But I'm away from it now. Like the first trade worked, the second trade stopped, the third trade sloppy, but I was able to get some profit and then a tight stop out. But it's stair-stepping to the upside. So I got to wait for this. The next setup is not till 33. If it wasn't going to fail the bottom, then I got to wait for 33 even, which is it's a good dollar away. If it's not going to be down here, it has to be up here. So I'm going to wait patiently. If we're this range bound and I'm not getting an opportunity that I like in CBNA, I don't want to force any more trades. I haven't traded in like 10 minutes, but that's the reason why. I want to add to this hood every single chance I get. I thought maybe I'd get fills tighter to 05, but now it's back underneath 8. So I think I just add to it at the, this is 99, but at the $8 area as I get some more at 99s. And now I will look at Mullen at 1030. I usually like Mullen at 20 cents.
Oh, wow.
Mullen at 20 cents is usually a good level. It just rejected 20. So here's what, yeah, there's 20 cents on Mullen. That's not a bad breakout price, but even better than a breakout is a dip buy. If it's stair step up, previous high 18.5 with a 20 top. Now understand that 18.5 to 20 is like 7 or 8%. So if you scalp a trade like that, like you're happy taking profit inside of it because that's 7 or 8%, and then you're trying to hold some for the dream. That's the way I would be approaching Mullen today. It's done 32 million shares worth of volume, which is pretty darn good. But when Mullen's really good, it would have done 100 million shares by now. So it's good volume. It's not great volume. And that's why, as much as that's how I think it sets up, it's not enough volume that I would be trading as a penny stock du jour today.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Whoops. Always make sure that you trade, like Neil just mentioned there, wait for key levels, wait for names that are in play, and be patient. And I think we've tried to talk about that a lot here today is how patient you need to be in this market. But with that being said, I'm going to be patient now with Apple. I have a much smaller position on right now, so we'll take some profit. But the reason why is because I wanted to see if we can hold this down into 189 and then into the low again. And if we bump up and the futures just continue to like think about what they want to do, then I will short a heck of a lot of shares up here near 190. So that to me is the play on this trade, right? So it's hold. And by saying hold, I also have a bid right now at 25. Then I have a bid down at 189. Then we'll have 60% left, and we'll wait to see for, you know, again, this 189 break and then lower back into the lows. Because if this market fails right now, Apple's weak. It's not weaker than the market, but, you know, we know that it can do this. So I like this trade. And then there is, again, for me, AMD is going to be a little sad because we did miss that opportunity to get more into that short. It looks like, I know you were looking at Micron before. It does look like Micron right now. Where is this? It's at VWAP, it's telling me. Sorry. So we have the scanners from Trade Ideas, and they do work great. But like, if it gets like a little close to it, sometimes it will put it out. So I just saw that Micron had hit close right there. But again, not moving. So
You want not moving? Charge point's not moving.
Wasn't that down 35%?
Dude, charge point's down 36%.
And not moving.
Look, I'm zooming in the chart so you guys can see this. Charge point has a 2-cent range on higher lows. There's one bottom. There's the next at 97. There's another one at 98. Now it's just chilling at $2. Baba just ran to the upside. I got out of Baba. So long story short, if it breaks out $2, I'm punching long, and I'm giving it to that lower high. That's 2 cents worth of risk if I get evens. It's 3 cents worth of risk if I get ones on charge point. But Alibaba just broke out the range. There we go. It just broke out that bottom end of the range here. You can see like that level here got taken out, so I shorted it to that. It broke it out. I'm now out of Alibaba. But that charge point, I can see almost no way that a stock down 36% wants to hold that tight of a range. We've seen that kind of consolidation before, and usually it's a good long breaking out of it.
So we just have a couple new positions here. We are getting ready to go to our guest momentarily. But there it is, man. We do have a nice move down. We are short Tesla right now. 50 cents in the money on TSLA coming back in. We did short some more. I think I'm going to take some out here on Tesla. Let's go. Can we ring the register? There it is, Sharif. That's 70 cents right there on Tesla immediately. So that was a good trade coming through for us now. We did short GPS. What a strange move here for GPS today. I don't know. It went right to 18 bucks. So, like, that's surprising to me here on Gap, all the way up to 18 again. So this was a level that we were looking at, and I was kind of mocking it, saying like, are we going to go 30% here on GPS today? Well, we are there, $19, the ultimate top. We'll short a little bit to see if we're right, but right now GPS, I feel like we might be right. I like this trade. Let's see where it goes. Right now it's going upside on gap. So we'll short it. We'll play a little reversion trade here against the stock. So we'll do that. Tesla, there's Tesla. It's an instant dollar club right there again. So thank you to whoever that was in the chat that brought that to my attention, or Neil's and all of ours there, as we talked about Tesla, playing that off the 200 period, now dollar on that name as well. So far so good here in the market. And we did short that small little piece of Apple. So let's wait to see if we can get a little bit more. I'm surprised we didn't get that there at 60 for Apple, but we're waiting higher, man. We're waiting VWAP and then the 200 period for AAPL. So all is good. Tesla, Apple, Amazon, and then new position on Gap. That's amazingly at $18.
There's a question in the chat. The reason ChargePoint got it, they swapped out their CEO, ChargePoint. So it was a change up in the C-suite, and it's going to the downside. Well, it's now not moving, and I actually might go long in stock, but we'll see what happens. But that's why it's down a crap ton. I don't know what just happened, but Robinhood wasn't doing much, but it just rejected the 8. The reason I'm sitting in it and adding just kind of when it's doing nothing is because at any moment it can make a move. So when it just drops like 3 cents like that, I'm waiting for 95s and 94s, then a 790 break is a flat bottom break I want to hold on to on the daily chart. So that is almost a triple bottom on Robinhood. It's the entirety of the reason. And the funny thing is, I wasn't even looking at this post earnings until Michael Noss brought this up. Saw the flat bottom break. I'm like, ooh, that's nasty if it gets down there. So it's down there now. We'll see what happens. But if it does break, I want to hold, try to add through that low, and see what happens after that. We're still in the same range here. Intel I think my 3 minutes okay here. Yeah, my 3 minutes okay on Intel. It just gave one underfill in VWAP, wicked the bottom again. I did miss this reentry, but I'm holding on for this higher low to continue that trend to the upside. It's relatively strong yesterday. Today, it's worse than the market, but holding on to key support, which is tough to see, but key support in yesterday's trade at 42.5. That's exactly where it bounced, and it's why I'm favoring the long at this area. It's down 1%, but it held on to that key support level, and that's why we favor the long on Intel. We're going to hold on to it. WGS is moving. There's a lot of small caps going. This is a penny stock that wants to not be a penny stock that just went back to a penny stock. That's a dollar failure that just happened on WGS. So when I see that, I'm not usually looking to go long on a dollar failure. If anything, I want it to regain the dollar level. 65 cents was support. Sometimes you wait till all the way back there, but I generally don't want to be long when the stock just wicked and failed a buck. Even if it gets back over $1, I think you can run some stops because people probably just shorted this at 99.
Some of these penny stocks can be insane trades. So yeah, definitely have a look at some of that. So Tesla's $1. I mean, it's continuing to go down a little bit here. Our Apple trade is working, but not really. AMD is really going to make me upset, but not really. Gap starting to work. I feel like right here, 75 on GPS, probably a decent level there. So let's put an order on GPS. I don't have any bids out for GPS, so we'll just did a little bit of work there. Look at the 75 area for some support. It's where the 50 period moving average is, so that's something that could come in. So we'll wait to see about that one on GPS, but that's a level that I'm looking at, so we'll see if it can hold that. Yeah, I do see that in the chat, Palantir. I was just looking at it. Really happy to be part of Palantir, that's for sure, but not as a day trade yet. You're getting back up to the upside here into some possible resistance of quarters, but it's so strong today. 1970. This is a 20-minute chart. Basically 5 straight candles to the upside. That's an hour. That's an hour and a half. And it's been going straight. So there it is right there, up to 2030 as a possible top there. Might be a play to break that top. So that would be what I'm looking at right there. What is it exactly there? $20.30. 2040 basically. I mean, whatever, you're kind of nitpicking at that level, but 2040 the high. So if you're going to go short, I would wait for some kind of a pullback, you know, to confirm it. But you got to wait to see about that 2040 level. So it's starting to go up. Look at the size on the offer here for Palantir. So there's some decent support for the offer. So I guess resistance there. I would say just be careful with it. Palantir making that move up. Everything that I'm holding right now really isn't doing a whole heck of a lot. Amazon's still there. Like Tesla was just $1 in the money and right back, again, bouncing off the 50 period. So trying to be specific with what we're doing and holding on a little bit now. It's 10:42, so the day's sort of getting on here, which is fine, but just waiting to see, is it going to be that day again where here's the move sort of off the open, there's the battle back showing us, you know, the high it wants to go, and then downside. So let's just wait to see what happens now with the market. Want to hold the short for now. So anything you want to talk about quickly before we go over?
Charge point just broke out of that little channel it's in, so I'm working in the long here off that $2 level on charge point. I know it's down 35%, but it just broke that consolidation. I missed the punch, but I'm working back in off that $2 level as we are now ready.
Okay.
Let's go to our desk. We've heated up. We've got our guest of the day.
All right, I'm very excited. As I mentioned early on this morning, we have an absolute legend sitting beside me in the Toronto radio industry. Todd Shapiro is in the building this morning, CEO and director of Red Light Holland. It's great to have you, and welcome, first of all.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is like an incredible setup. Like, great job, guys.
It's
really
yeah,
neat.
it's a lot of fun. We get to talk about the market, hang out every day, talk stocks, and talk about an industry in the psychedelic side of things that I find personally fascinating. And I was mentioning to you here just before we came on that it feels a lot like the early days of the cannabis industry right now. You're starting to see the retail pop up. You're starting to hear about it a little bit more. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have to happen to get it to that point. But give us, from a higher view here, where are you at as far as this industry is concerned?
Yeah, so Red Light Holland has a very interesting model within psychedelics, and specifically focused, we're on psilocybin.
Right.
Magic mushrooms.
Right.
The stuff you've probably tried, I don't know if you're allowed saying that, the stuff I imagine your whole room has probably tried. Who's tried some mushrooms? Who's tried some mushrooms, boys? Ladies? Anyway, but we're trying to really, truly doing it responsibly, but we're a company that speaks for the people. And why do I say that? Because there should be a right to try. You should be able to do it responsibly with education and information.
Yep.
And most importantly, we believe, and studies are really showing this, that it should be able to help people going through trauma, our veterans going through post-traumatic stress disorder. So we are always about the naturally occurring product. And you mentioned the industry as a whole. There are some that are biotech companies. They're going like to tweak a molecule, patent it, become the next big pharma, which, by the way, and I say this all the time, that's okay, because ultimately if that leads to a pill that's standardized that maybe your mom or my dad might prefer over a naturally occurring thing where they're nervous about the contents inside of it, that's good if it helps people too. But at the end of the day, we're seeing a big sort of, I don't want to say protest against big pharma, but we're seeing like some hesitancy.
A little pushback.
Yeah, we're seeing a little, nervousness. Like, what are we putting in our bodies? Why are we doing this? Stuff from the ground. Tens of thousands of years that this has been going on for indigenous roots and everything. So why not have naturally occurring products done responsibly well? So, sorry, I'll talk forever. Back to the shops you mentioned, what's going on, like cannabis, is cannabis came in, and especially here in Canada, originally it actually was passed for helping with patients with AIDS to deal with their trauma that they were going through. And then slowly over like about 18, 20 years, it eventually became, as we know, legal in this country. And we saw illegal shops popping up, and then they put big blocks in front of them, and they'd get rid of them, and they were forced to doing regulations. So yes, we're seeing shroomies pop up all over Canada. We're seeing like Six Toronto here in Toronto, fun guys, very clever names. And for us, it's like, yes, this is good because they're outliers. We have to respect what they're doing, but they're doing it illegally. So will that force a charter challenge to allow companies like ours, who pay a shit ton of money in audits, legal opinions, publicly traded stuff that is the very expensive corporate cost of being public, Red Light Holland, TRIP on the CSE if anyone's interested, or TRUF on the OTC. But do your due diligence. I'm always told to say that. But long story short, we're doing it very carefully, and we believe that there is a future.
So let's dig into that a little bit. Where is the next step is obviously going to be on the regulation side. It's going to be on the legal side of things. What needs to happen? I mean, we can speak on the Canadian side of things when it comes to regulatory steps that are needed, or the U.S., up to you. I'll leave that in your hands. But what needs to happen here to get to that next step?
Yeah, I mean, one, we need advocates. Advocates are people, the right to try. So that's an important thing. Secondly, governments are being progressive, similar to cannabis. Oregon, one of the first states in cannabis that pushed through legal cannabis, is now doing the same with Measure 109 in psychedelics. They're allowing a therapeutic use of it right now. Colorado has been making some big strides too. SB 109, I believe, is in Colorado. Washington State. California now is starting to open up. They have their bill as well. So a lot of senators and spokespeople for small towns in these different states are talking about decrim, which is good and bad, because decrim doesn't necessarily lead to a regulated process on how to use it. And the others are talking about this therapeutic use, which we think is really important too, where, and we focus on microdosing, but the therapeutic use right now deals with sort of like this heavy hero dose, they call it, where you take a lot and you're guided through a facilitator and a therapist to deal with things that might be going on.
Right.
And luckily and hopefully we're seeing good results in that model. Right. But that model's expensive. That model is a little bit, in my opinion, elitist, because who can afford that kind of way to go and get therapy? Think about the United States alone. They're already having so many issues with their medical systems. Why not have a microdosing approach? And we think microdosing can really help, not only like on the day-to-day, but it can also help with the affordability, the access, and perhaps not just dishing it out like you would see at a cannabis dispensary, but perhaps get it like a cup of coffee. You go get your cup of coffee, a facilitator's there, they mark off what you do, and then in about 20 minutes, they see there's no contraindications, off you go to hopefully enjoy your day in a more peaceful manner.
Where is the opportunity going to come from here? And when I say that, I mean, what part of the actual business? A lot of people watching have probably seen the headlines on the medical side, seen the research-related medical headlines, but in your opinion, where's the opportunity in this industry going to come from?
Yeah, I mean, there's huge opportunity. We are a company that deals anecdotally looking at studies every day. And if you put those together, that would be like your biggest phase 1 study ever, meaning go and look at the numbers. Tens of thousands of people, if you hashtag microdose, you can read up on what they're doing and how it's working for them. So that opportunity to me is helping veterans, helping our first emergency responders. Let's start with that. That's the most important thing we can be doing. But helping with trauma, for all of us. I mean, the world right now is in a very difficult place. Wars all over the place, divides in politics, divides in religions, divides in people. Think about what our children are seeing online as they're scrolling through, seeing dead bodies, seeing bombs blowing up. There is so much going on right now. So the opportunity to me, and maybe it sounds like a bit of a blanket statement and a generalization, but it's to fix this world. Like, that's the opportunity. If everyone woke up, and I can't make medical claims, but I truly believe this. If everybody woke up every day and took a microdose in their drink, I bet you we'd all be getting along a lot better. So that to me is the opportunity.
Tell us about Red Light Holland. What do we need to know here from a viewer standpoint, someone who maybe is new to the industry, might be hearing about this for the first time? What do we need to know about the company?
Sure, great question. Do we have an hour? There is so much going on.
It's YouTube.
Let's have fun. I mean, I love this stuff, by the way. Thank you again. Red Light Holland started off working within a legal framework in the Netherlands. Magic truffles are legal. You can get them next to like a Baskin Robbins or a Nike store. Like they're just out in the open, except for the fact that they're done in kind of like seedy head shops. Like, they're called smart shops. And it's great, but have people thought through how people can buy magic truffles? So when I took the company public about 3.5 years ago, we wanted to bring education into it, meaning we created telecounseling support when you buy our truffles. We created an app that is a privacy-first app, but if you want to share with us your data, then we can get analytics on this and share it, which we have done, by the way, with Oregon Senate when they helped write Measure 109. We were showing what consumers wanted, what dosage was working, and what was being effective for different body weights, but different ethnicities. People would put in that data, and then we could learn on how it might be able to help. And that was very effective. So at the end of the day, that's how we started. Then we realized quite candidly, we raised a bunch of money. We got caught up in that big hype of the psychedelics. And, as a CEO who is the largest shareholder in the company, that was like an amazing time for me, but a very stressful time for me.
Of course.
And the reason being is it was skyrocketing, but we didn't have much. So you get a 270 million market cap, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, you know, where's it going to go from here? And obviously, everybody wants the unicorn. I still want the unicorn, but at the end of the day, you know, I was worried about where we may be. So we raised at least on the back of it with less dilution. I think last at about 43.5 cents. So, you know, we raised overall over $20 million. So we're still sitting last reported with 17.5 million. That is 17.5 million. Not a lot of microcap companies can say that. And, you know, getting back to it, we then pivoted though. What was important for us was revenues now, and there weren't many catalysts coming. So ultimately what we did is we said, hey, maybe we get into mushroom farming, because growing a magic truffle, growing a magic mushroom is farming at the end of the day.
Right.
And to be honest, we made some really good moves. We partnered with some of Canada's biggest mushroom farmers. One of them is Mike Medeiros from Carlton Mushroom Farms.
Okay.
I mean, this guy is a private company, but I'm sure he's doing like, you know, tens and tens of millions of dollars in mushroom sales. We partner with guys named Nick Furlano and Stephen Rody. They're in the exotic mushrooms, which are lion's mane, shiitake, and oyster. So these are all edible mushrooms that are getting you into the sort of this mushroom coalition to learn about, maybe one's good for gut health. Maybe one's good for cognitive. Maybe one is immune boosting. And the magic stuff, it just happens to be good, and we're learning this through science for the mind. So we're a mushroom company. We have home grow kits on Amazon right now. If you go and look up Happy Caps or Mr. Caps, which is a great partnership with Wiz Khalifa that we have going right now. Yes, Wiz Khalifa. And this is learning about edible functional mushrooms that you grow at home, cook with. And so we're a mushroom company. It's pretty cool.
It's exciting, and it's early days, obviously, for not only the business but the industry itself. If people want more information on the product, on the industry itself, where would you send them?
Yeah, I encourage you to go to the Netherlands. Let's start with that. If you're over 19, you know, walk into. We own a smart shop there called Smart Trek Utrecht. Actually, it's just called now it's called Mushroom and More. We switched the names. Geez, we got so much going on. To end the stigma around that seediness, we wanted to make it more of a health and wellness store. And then we distribute our product in the Netherlands to over 200 different smart shops and use it responsibly. We have a therapist there named Jeff Hamburg. If you're interested in some therapy and you feel like you need it now as opposed to waiting for maybe these future regulations to come. And you know, we're everywhere. Our Happy Caps and Mr. Caps are on Amazon and the websites. There's so much going on with the company. We even created this cool mushroom lamp. If you want to buy it, it's at wisdomtruffle.com. If anyone wants a tour of the farm one day, hit me up personally. We'll do that too. It's pretty impressive.
Red Light Holland, guys. TRIP on the CSE. Truff, you mentioned down on the OTC in the U.S. as well. Todd Shapiro, the CEO and director of the company.
Who likes mushrooms, guy? Who likes mushrooms here? From a round of applause. Oh, uh-oh. Okay.
Good stuff.
Cheers.
The best part about it is the amount of traders that are probably behind us that are just like, shh.
Yeah, it's like it's too like unknown about what you're supposed to celebrate it or not. But outed Brendan.
Toddy, my mom's like, just kidding.
That was funny.
I have like a sinister goal now, and it's like at some point to get a nickname is cool. It's like Toddy Tickles. It's like, hey, we're on. You guys can give us some fun ones too. Sean's got like People's Trader. Sharif's got Professor. It's just we have a lot of fun with it. I appreciate that, and I know the chat was having an absolute blast. John Sproul, no, we do not have office drug tests here. This ain't like professional. Well, do they even test in the NFL? Do they really test? It's not professional sports, do you? But a lot is going on, and the market's back up to those highs, but some things happen while we're doing that. I got to go back over to Rivian because Rivian had a double top. I threw it in the chat, Rivian double top. Well, Neil tried to short the double top, and Neil got stopped there almost instantly. I was short 62s and out 65s in about as much time as it took you to type double top. This is flying to the upside here. The only other thing I'm in that's moving was that charge point. Charge point broke that channel. 15-minute chart's not going to do you any good on charge point. Why is this still on Rivian? I hit enter twice every single time. Anyway, so charge point just ran. I got in at VWAP. It just moved into 10s, so I got some out into that. Should have been long right in here and got an extra 2 cents out of this, but it is starting to make that move into the upside. Robinhood's still not doing anything, and a flat top setup is now happening on Andy Ha. How did you know I was going to say that? Andy Ha just put in 334, seems like a big level, and I was just about to, my black chart's up there, to point out, look at 334. on Meta. But look at that wick. That's a rejection over top. Money fills over 334, out to 334.30. That's a good stair step up, but this is a monster level now setting up here on everybody's favorite social media stock. Or is it?
Which is what?
Well, stock.
Oh, Meta. Yeah,
It might not be your favorite social media platform or platforms, but it's probably your favorite social media stock.
Yeah,
that's a fair statement. I had to think about that for a second.
Sure.
No, hold on a second. I don't think anybody's going to prefer to own Snapchat over Meta.
Right now, I don't.
Well, buy at these levels and own are two different things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think Snapchat eventually gets bought out, but yeah, I mean, Meta, but might be by Meta. So yeah. I mean,
Then it's just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like.
I stand by that statement.
Oh, no, so do I. I only own Meta. Well, I do own Snapchat, but that was.
I used to own Pinterest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what were the other ones? Twitter's gone now.
What else?
Pinterest, yeah, MySpace, good one, Sharif.
100%.
About those shrooms, like what's
100% Sharif was active on MySpace back in the day. You know he was. I know.
Yeah,
he was.
I never had. I actually didn't even have a MySpace.
I didn't have a straight up. I didn't have a MySpace, but you know Sharif did.
No, there's the other.
No, I did not. No,
Pins,
Sharif.
Yeah, Pins. Friendster, yeah, that was another one, I think. Okay, yeah, thanks for that. Very, very interesting guest there coming through, so check it all out. All right, so, like, I don't have that many shares in Gap, but I'm kind of like just waiting for something to happen. Like, I thought that we could short, like, we don't have that many shares because I don't even have bids. Like, I was waiting for at least, like, again, shorting 19 here, or 18, was waiting for this, like, 1760, kind of for this name to collapse. Is it going to stay upside here today? You know, that's really the question. So we'll have to wait to see here what happens with Gap. I mean, you know, zooming back out a little bit, you know, that to me, like 19 is that. So I want to hold this till 19, and I know that seems crazy. Like, I don't have that many shares. So what I want to do then now, because I just don't think it's going to rip that far, is wait till about 1850. You know, if it gets up there, we'll put on a real position and then use our 50 cents as our sort of target to get out. Because for right now, it's not worth it for me to punch out now. So I'm going to wait for this one. And then a new position that we just took, again, because we're bouncing off VWAP, so this is only going to come out, or this will come out if we take out the highs here, basically of 120.50. So I'm, again, kind of just into a few positions here in case the market wants to sort of make a little bit of a move down. Well, we'll try to get in, but I'm trying to put some more shares much closer to these tops. So that's going to be true of Apple right here. Sorry about the wicks here. That's going to be true of Apple, where we took some VWAP. We're still, oh, we just missed that adventure. Okay, see, now it's pulling back in. So, you know, some of these things starting to make sense now for me. So nice moves pulling back. Yeah, just be patient at this time. Is sort of what I'm getting at right now.
It's already 11 o'clock. We are going to go on over to our educational show, which has been fantastic all week with Adair and Sharif. But Palantir, I knew there was something coming out of that we wanted to mention. Palantir is still, it's up 2%. It's above $20. Whoops, a little too far. That is the daily chart at 2040. It's like a triple top now. It's been wicked a couple times. I think today could be the day it takes out. The market's not overly strong, and Palantir is. So if you stair step into it, that would mean long somewhere 20 to 2010. If it breaks the triple top, I want to be long going into that break as opposed to trying to punch long on a 2040. So shout out to everyone that was yelling about Palantir, but I do like this. If the market's going to hold this range, then long, strong stocks, short, relatively weak ones. With that, I'm going to reload ChargePoint into $2, and we're going to send you guys right on over to our educational show du jour, which I've been saying a lot, with Sharif, the professor, and Adair.
Ciao, ciao.
Welcome to the Midday Show. Learn how to trade. That's your girl, Adara. I'm Sharif. And it's great to have you for the